to hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the fall, oh, we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we defy. A solar ray of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last light. Hearing voices from afar, join the madness when the curtain falls. Risk it all, hold nothing back. Seize the day, we must attack. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we defy. A solar ray of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last light. Can we bring to fall the giants? 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 We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we defy. A solar ray of the few who rise up high.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Otter Talk for the Blue Otter Draft League. This week, we are streaming up in Sapphire with the Typhoons versus the Gamblers. However, we are also running a separate second stream for our playoffs this week. I believe that will be the Gorillas matchup that we have on. Tonight, we have our guests. We have Ariel Ice. We have
Hello.
Chief,
Hey.
Rescued,
Hello.
and Tobex.
Yes, sir.
All of these players have, I think, performed quite well on their given teams, especially in the season, with 3 of them being currently still in contention for playoffs. Especially Rescued, who last week we did have on stream with the amazing Bromsteel that won their team the game.
Oh yeah, that was wild.
Gotta gas that up a little bit because we were going a bit crazy after stream was over. That was an absolutely insane play.
Thank you.
For tonight, though, unfortunately, we will not be watching the Valkyries. We have the Typhoons versus the Gamblers. We've talked about these teams a lot. My personal lane to watch tonight is definitely going to be the jungle role. Cherry versus Asian Jason. Both these players have been playing phenomenally for the past couple weeks of the season, as well as moving into playoffs. So I definitely take a look there. Right now, we're going to move into our predictions for the night to see what everyone has to say. All right, we're looking. It looks like relatively similar across the board, but Rescued, you have Gamblers winning over Typhoons, not on the hype train I see.
Yeah, that was like a really hard decision. Both the teams are really strong, but I really like the bot lane duo in Gamblers. I thought they were quite a bit to handle when I faced them. So I thought that they won it over with that. So
All right, and Chief, I have to ask because other people they're believing in the Valkyries, and honestly, maybe I'm a little bit of a too much of a doubter for Master and the rest of the crew, but you also agree. You think that Wizards have it. What do you think gives them that little special kick?
Yeah, I mean, the Wizards is a great team. They were the, I believe, second seed right behind the Gamblers. And I really have to say, Wizards is one of the top teams because they have some of the best players in each role, such as in top lane with Jolts. And I think the game is going to be close, but I think the Wizards are going to pull through.
Alrighty, and now we're gonna move into our Ruby predictions. We had a couple people here with from Ruby, so hopefully we can get some good little insight into what they believe. Chief, once again, the odd man out. You believe in the Spuds.
Yeah, I mean, I think the game is going to be really close. Don't get me wrong, but I do believe in the Spuds winning. That is my prediction.
I like it. And Rescuer Ice, the Colonels over the Gorillas. Stocks on the Colonels have gone down in recent weeks, but I can see both of you still believers.
yeah, like once again, like I always look for the bot laners. I don't really watch much of the rest of the map, and I think that Chime is really strong support with Giggle as ADC, so I had to put them as the winner.
All right, and for our next segment, we have something a little bit unique. We asked all of our guests to make all-star rosters, so that we can talk over the rules being that you cannot pick more than one player from any given team. So I will actually ask, because Dory unfortunately did not send them over, if you guys would send me your rosters real quick so we can start taking a look at these. I'll start. I'll go with mine first for the Sapphire. I had Jolts, Asian Jason, Wraith, Rufian, and Chief as mine. And now I'm trying to see if any of our Sapphire players send these over. I can talk about this a little bit. Some interesting choices here, actually, from Rescued. You have Badger, Zebra, Wraith, Ixie, and 21. Badger is not a pick I would expect to see on the top lane tier list.
Yeah, so why I picked Badger, because from what I understand, he doesn't really play top lane, but he like really showed like his ability to fill as a player and like play strong side tops, and I thought that he was deserving of that.
And Zebra as well. I know, a lot of junglers have been very big on Asian Jason as of late. There's been a couple talks, but I know playing against the Ronin last week, you probably have better insight into this. Did Zebra feel that impressive? I mean, he played a hell of a series, definitely.
Oh yeah, like he's a very, very good jungler. It was really hard picking a good jungler because I think there's a lot of really skilled ones in the Sapphire League, but I think he's the most consistent out of all of them. Like he always performs pretty well.
That he definitely does. And it seems Chief agrees with you in picking Zebra, but a different choice in top lane with CB Batman.
Yeah, I mean, in the regular season, we played against the Gamblers, and I think by far the best player on Gamblers has to be CB Batman. We're definitely considering and are going to be attacking his solo carry potential, but yeah, I think he's definitely the best top laner in the league right now.
All right, and moving more into our Ruby side, these are I see some interesting. We have Skadoosh for the Spuds. Tobex, your list has Skadoosh, Stone Kit Kat actually as the support, Chili Crab from the Astronauts. All of these picks definitely not, I think, a lot of people's top choices, but I mean, you've played against them. You obviously know what you're talking about. Would you like to explain a couple of these?
I would love to. Now, I also have Verluza for ADC over my own team's ADC, but that's only because He's the highest, he's the best stats in the entire league, and that's what you want from an ADC. But really, the team that I want for All Stars, you can't ban them out. Your first 3 bans are always used and locked in every game, and that just gives so much power to this idea that I believe. Like, are you gonna ban Chili Crabs, Urgot every game? Are you gonna in first round? It's I think it's a lot of pressure that I don't think many teams in Ruby can prepare for. Like, suiciding your draft is very common.
That's fair. That's fair. And I mean, Aerial Ice, we do see a couple of unique picks over there. I think a lot of common. Gassing yourself up a little bit though with your own choice in mid, despite the role swap.
Yeah, I mean, at least when it comes to mid lane, I think a lot. Mind you, that rule, 1 person per team, that kind of got me there. So keep that in mind. I couldn't pick somebody else, but I think a lot of the mid laners in Ruby right now are kind of interchangeable. We all play the same champs. You can take one out, swap in another. It's going to be very similar. So, you know, I think I picked a good rest of the team, so I just want to throw myself in there so I could be part of it.
Well,
but
I
yeah,
respect it.
I think the rest of the team, I don't know if you said, but I had Kaz top lane. I think he's shown up really well this season, a lot more than I expected for top lane. Fallen jungle, I think that's pretty standard. I think ADC's been between there's been top 3 ADCs between Jake, Verja, and Ren this season. So I put Ren. I think he's been doing pretty well. And then for support, I think Pizza's just miles above the rest of the supports. So yeah, he's my top choice.
Awesome. And talking a little bit about later tonight, I'm gonna start asking all of our people that are still in. How are you guys feeling tonight? Tobex, let's start with you. You're a Ruby semi-finalist with a rather hard matchup. Definitely going into the Frogs. I think that lower bracket people are feeling a little bit more comfortable, but you having to face off against the #1 seed, you worried? You excited? You think you got what it takes?
Wait, who is he?
Huh?
I ain't stressed at all. I had a bad matchup. I was stressed out the first time we faced him, but I'm ready. I'm so ready tonight.
All right. Any special picks we can be looking forward to potentially?
Well, you know, I've got the classic Singed. You're gonna ban. Listen, last draft, last person taking the entire draft. Are you really gonna throw 3 bans at me? Are you serious, bro? I've got the Singed, I got the Urgot, and I've been cooking on Ambessa. She's ready. I'm telling you, I'm 3 bans deep every game.
Now, with Singed, I have to ask, do you think they're going to let you play it? Do you think you're going to find the Singed angle? Are we gonna get to see the auspicious
100%.
Singed running it down?
Listen, everyone is so cocky. I'm the underdog. I'm the weak link. We don't even need to throw a ban to him. They're gonna give me Singed 1 game and never again. That's how it's been every game. I got 1 game in. It's gonna keep going. The cycle continues.
All right, good to hear. I like to see the confidence, and I'm wondering, does our confidence transition to our other players? Chief, how are you feeling tonight? Being our stream matchup, do you think the lights are gonna get to you, or do you not have any fears about it?
I mean, I definitely feel good. I would disagree with Rescued in the sense that I think our bot lane is much stronger than the Gamblers' bot lane. So I'm very confident there. Also, I do understand that there's a whole psychological side when it comes to games, especially when you're coming off a loss. But I definitely think that's going to go in towards our favor rather than against us. So I'm pretty confident that we're going to pull a win in this series.
Awesome, good to hear. Any interesting off-meta support picks or bot lanes that you've been prepping, or do we not get to know about that?
Well, not necessarily any support picks, but we have been prepping some certain moves with the bot lane that we actually might end up showing this series, but I won't spoil anything.
All right, I'll be on the lookout. And last but not least, Rescued, our personal MVP of the series, saving the Game 5 last week. Do you think you have it in you to do it again? Are you confident? Do you even think it'll get to a point where you have to save it, or do you think you can just coast by?
It's a hard one because I don't know. Like, Wizards are a really strong team. I'm personally good friends with 21 and Banana, and it sucks facing friends, but it's fun at the same time. Uh, I don't know. I don't know, honestly. It's gonna be tough. I hope it doesn't go to 5 games, because then it gets really stressful, but if it does, then, I wish Wizards the best, you know?
That's fair. That's fair. I like to see the confidence from all of our players tonight. But for right now, I think we're going to head out, start prepping on our matches tonight on the main stream. We do have the Typhoons versus the Gamblers. Tune in for that. And if maybe that's not your cup of tea, we do have the Frogs versus the Spuds on our second stream if you'd like to tune in. However, for right now, I have been Nakasera. Joining me has been Aerial Ice, Chief, Rescued, and Tobex. We are going to wish you all a good night and wishing good luck to all of our players.
She's such a misfit, always ready to brawl. It's like her business, roughing up your friends is the law. There is no difference if you believe you're strong. She's a bulldozer, making sure you're flat on the ground. She's like a boomerang that never gives up. She flies in circles so she hits you and you're bowed in the dust. So just remember this, when she's chasing you down, face first, you'll be thrown into the proving ground. She'll knock you out. Have you ever really wanted to be a total rebel, flipping tables on the enemy? Did you ever try to further improve how fast you punch people through the roof? Oh, was there ever any certain time when you thought brute force and style combined? Well, I guess now's time to shine, 'cause finally she's here. Here comes mine. As a matter of fact, the best bet one has is to quickly react to the first attack that's safe for the bullets. She'll never pull back, just resist. Have you ever really wanted to be a total rebel, flipping tables on the enemy? Did you ever try to further improve how fast you punch people through the roof? Oh, was there ever any certain time when you thought brute force and style combined? Well, I guess now's time to shine, 'cause finally she's here. Here comes
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Blue Otter Draft League. We are in our upper division, the Sapphire division, for tonight's match, the Typhoons versus the Gamblers, both finishing the season extremely strong. Typhoons coming in at a lot of people's favorites towards the back end, but the Gamblers maintaining that first seed spot and getting their bye into the first round.
Yeah, Gamblers being that top seed means that they could select which opponent they wanted to face in the semifinals round. And in both divisions, we see the number 1 seed actually electing to go for the higher seed in the number 3 Typhoons in this case. So I think the Typhoons have a little chip on their shoulders, maybe thinking that they are being underestimated. So it'll be interesting to see what they pull out here. Gamblers too have side selection and have selected the red side.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised. A lot of teams really valuing the counter pick as we get into these later stages of the playoffs, especially with how many good blind picks there are. Obviously, blue is very strong, but because there's so many priority picks, it's not as mandatory as it was earlier on in that season.
Yeah, as we do see the first pick coming in, it is the Jinx. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the Gamblers lose a ban, right? Because they're subbing in, or is that for another team?
No, that is correct.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we do see the Jinx here as a blue pick. I guess we do see it contested from time to time. We also see some other picks like the Seraphine, but Seraphine's been banned. The Hui has been a big focus too, as we do see J4 locked in for the Gamblers.
Yeah, nothing too out of the ordinary so far. I think everything that we've seen is relatively expected. The one thing I will say, though, is that I wasn't expecting to see an Ahri this early on, especially with Hui still up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's just a very safe pick. Maybe they kind of wanted to go for safety here for comfort. I did look and peek at the stats that were being displayed on the screen before we started drafting. I think both mid laners actually struggle in the laning phase. I believe they have negative CS differences at 14. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top. Ahri, pretty reliable, as we do see Sylas being hovered here.
Yeah, I mean, it would certainly be an interesting pick. I wouldn't be surprised to see it locked in. And it will be already some good ults to steal. The Ahri ult obviously giving Sylas a lot of mobility. Being able to steal that Jarvan ult as well. Being able to dash in with the E, the W, and get on right on top of people with that ultimate. You know, adding that big AP ratio that Sylas already has. You know, just to add a bunch of extra burst on that dive, I think it's going to be really strong. And the Poppy answered, of course, not shocked at all to see this. Could go into 3 different roles.
Yeah.
Marking this off and already effective against 2 of the champions that the Gamblers have drafted. Leaving the Poppy up, well, drafting R1, R2, Jarvan, Ahri, maybe not the greatest, but I do like this pick. Going for the Sivir, sort of shoring up, really going for that range. They have a lot of damage now, but that is going to also help their engage similarly without maybe forcing out dashes, so I think it's really good into the Poppy. That low range might be a bit dangerous, though, if they end up sending the Poppy support.
Yeah, and you would imagine if you're on the side of Gamblers that you need some kind of answer. You see Poppy and Sylas kind of probably going to go for this Sivir. So you need kind of someone that can poke them out, someone who can help the Sivir survive. So I wouldn't be surprised if I see any like Lulu bans. I think Lulu would be big because Sylas really needs that healing off when it goes on someone. Maybe someone like Renata might be a good ban as well. Peels off those assassins and that Sylas. Instead, elected to ban the Mundo, taking that away.
Yeah, and Mundo, a very good pawn pick that we've seen a lot of, so I'm not too shocked to see that this is getting banned away. One thing I will note, though, because of these teams and how they play, I think it's sort of dependent on whichever top laner ends up picking first to dictate how that top lane's going to go, right? I think we're either going to see Bruiser against Bruiser or tank against tank. I don't think we're going to see a Bruiser into a tank unless the obvious, you know, Mordekaiser into Ornn is left up, which is always an option that a lot of teams end up playing.
Yeah. As we do see the Jax ban here, focus on the top side. I guess makes sense. You don't know where that Poppy's going. Maybe just going to go and ban some of the stronger tops. Wukong could be flexed as well. I wouldn't be surprised if the Gamblers went for support here first. give the top the counter, as we do see Braum locked in, giving that nice little disengage for Sivir.
Yeah, and that's going to be really, really effective. I like adding the peel in. You probably don't need a ton of extra follow-up engage, and obviously drafting something like the Rel here, that when the Poppy's already locked in is probably not the greatest option. So providing peel to the Sivir, while still being able to back up your front line, being able to play sort of in the middle of these fights, I think is really, really strong. And of course, giving your top counter pick always a reliable strategy.
Yeah, and now you have to kind of think on the Typhoons, what's a blind bow top, and they said Cassante is, and I think that's correct. Cassante is a pretty strong pick, really be able to just be in the thick of it, and I think would allow multiple ways of entering this fight with the Cassante. We'll see how they round this out. I'm assuming that Poppy then is going jungle. Poppy could go support. We'll see what the Typhoons decide to do. I think I don't know where that goes. Because I can go jungle or support, right, for those two roles?
Yep. I mean, it's definitely one of those things where it's still kind of flexible. You can see where these things are going. I'd imagine, if I had to guess, it would be the Poppy support in the Taliyah jungle. I think, given the picks that have already been locked in, it's probably going to be looking for that. And we are actually going to see a Bruiser into tank with the Alawi being locked in up there in the top side for the Gambler. So really going for this sort of 4-core with Alawi being allowed to split push, I think is very strong. But also if that Alawi ends up getting ahead, can definitely go over to those team fights with how low range a lot of the Typhoons are, right? 3 melee is obviously very strong, although they do have that extra range in the Taliyah and the Jinx.
Yeah, I think seeing what the Gamblers have, I would definitely venture the guess that Taliyah will be going jungle. I think being able to have that range would help a lot when it comes to the comp the Gamblers have. I will say the Gamblers comp is a little bit easier to execute. I think Jarvan, Sivir, Ahri, they're all kind of like, I wouldn't say one note per se, but you kind of know what they're doing. A lot front to back, Alawi is just splitting. I think in terms of execution, I think I would give that to the Gamblers.
Yeah, definitely ease of execution going on the Gamblers. They have a much simpler game plan. That being said, we are starting to get into the upper end of playoffs where ease of execution matters a little bit less. These teams are a lot better. You know, I think it will come down to sort of caps in a lot of these games and just how high these teams can cap out. And I think the Typhoons definitely have a massive opportunity if they play it well.
Yep, and I think in this first game too, you know, there's definitely some nerves in play. I think players will have to relax, make sure that comms are all straightened out. As we do take a short break, when we come back, we will have the first game of the semifinals match between the Typhoons and the Gamblers. Stay tuned. Thank you for waiting. This is game one of the semifinal series between Typhoons and the Gamblers. We'll see how both will start the night tonight, as we do see an opening of a 5. Okay, I was going to say normal, but it's going to be actually a 4v5. Some connection issues, but it seems like Seeker is back now. Anything to point out here, Noctisera, as we kind of begin maybe fishing out some info on either side?
Yeah, nothing too crazy as of yet. However, I would like to point out Chief going for that aggressive Poppy support, going for the Hail of Blades rather than the Aftershocker Guardian, as well as the Ignite. So definitely looking for some aggression in that bot side. Cherry also going for the first strike over any of the Dark Harvest or Phase Rush options. So definitely looking for that gold, that extra initial burst onto any targets is going to be a lot more chunky, a lot more significant, rather than backloading it with something like Dark Harvest or running something with it for a bit more movement speed like the Phase Rush.
Yeah, as we do see both junglers electing to start on their respective blue camps. So we'll see not the usual same direction. I think last series, 4 out of the 5 matches, we saw both junglers heading towards that bot side. But I guess maybe Talia wants that blue buff early. So we'll see how this pathing will work out for both of them.
Yeah, and pathing in opposite directions does mean that we probably won't see any crazy scuttle fights, anything like that. But I would expect to see at least a little bit of fighting early. Preferably a gank, I think, would be something that is going to be common, especially towards that top side. Getting that Alawi ahead early could be absolutely massive for the Gamblers.
Yeah, and I think both junglers really have the opportunities and the toolkit to gank, right? J4 with the Flag and Drag, and then Tilia with the movement speed on the walls, as well as the stun. I think in terms of setup, it might be easier to gank the mid lane, because both Ari and Silas do provide a bit of an engage, but it might be hard for either side. Yeah, so yeah, we'll see what they do. If they want to do an early gank, both junglers are just farming right now. I think once Scuttle spawns, we'll see our first lick of action from the junglers.
Yeah, maybe we will. Maybe we won't. Icy Rain getting pushed under tower rather than pushing in. So CB Patman just trying to put on some of that early pressure there on Icy Rain, who's just absorbing it, playing relaxed, doesn't want to worry too much. Going the Conquer on that Cassante over something like the Grasp, which tells me definitely does not want to interact with this Alawi too much early. Definitely wants to play for these team fights. Really wants to play for the fight potential rather than this raw laning, going in for trades, getting those Grasp and healing procs off.
Yeah, and I gotta say, CB Battle are really playing aggressive here. I'm not sure if they knew where this Talia was starting, but pretty much has all the confidence in the world, kind of really pushing this hard. And obviously with Jarvan now being here on the top side, kind of giving Batman the free reins here. Gotta feel bad for Rain.
Yeah, definitely. But the bright side here, not getting dove, which was definitely possible with those low health bars, but still risky. Obviously, Cassante, one of those champions you can never quite count out. But now we have a gank on to Heiko. Pops the spell shield as they go in. The Ignite goes down as well. A couple more ticks. One more is going to do it, and first blood right over to Chief. The nice Ignite on there. Really nice combo there. Chief knocking him into the wall, setting it up for Cherry. And the amazing pullback does so much damage on that Talia early on. But the Ignite ends up finishing it off. Another gank in the mid lane. Big blob fish with a really nice charm there and a good little sidestep. Getting him out to safety. No real risk there. Nice fancy footwork there. If you get hit by that pull, definitely could go down. Meanwhile, we see a little bit of an engage in the bot side. Seeker getting pushed in the wall, but Pixie and Chief have to be careful now that Asian Jason has showed up. Well-placed chompers, though, to cut Asian Jason and Seeker off from pushing too far.
Yeah, lots of action here. Good on blob fish there. I think really reserved and using that flash. Worked out well. Didn't have to burn as we do see Link.
Charm. No, the flash there, right in time there. Charm wearing off just in time for Symptomatic Link to get that flash off. If he wasn't able to, that would have been a kill for blob fish. But Symptomatic Link, now on his first back, has been able to survive the first 5 levels against the Ahri, which are always the roughest, always the most difficult for these melee mid laners.
Yeah, and I think, at least for Fish, still has Flash, Teleporter has the tempo here, which is key. I would say for Heiko too, not too bad of a tempo swing. I know They did die in that gank, but seems like with 40 CS, 3 CS up, is about to hit in lane as well. So was able to keep up the tempo. As we do see J4 kind of invading here.
Yeah, going for a mid lane setup, looking for maybe a charm, looking for something. I see Rain though with the engage on his DB Batman, who definitely has to be careful, especially gets pulled back. But a nice
Talia's
sidestep
coming.
there means he won't. Symptomatic Link does have that Ahri ult. Blob Fish using it as well. Gonna have to use it to get out. Has to be careful though. Grounded, does dash out, does land the nice charm though on a Symptomatic Link, who ends up beating a tower shot on his way back. Beautiful charm there from Blob Fish to pick up the kill. Symptomatic Link just going a bit too far forward, too aggressive with that stolen Spirit Rush.
Yeah, I think trying to use that last charge or Spirit Rush to kind of get that kill, but J4 was just blocking, couldn't get it on the Ahri.
Yeah, now fight up in the top side. I see Rain pulling CB Batman over the wall, but meanwhile Chief going in on this jungle. Ixie getting excited, looking for some extra damage, not quite able to land the shock pistol on the Blob Fish. Has to land a couple more autos. 2 more is going to do it, but he won't be able to land that second one. Seeker has to be careful, though, as he's knocked back in. Thanks to Cherry's Unraveled Earth. See, looking for more, he won't be able to get it. Meanwhile, on the top side, Icy Rain was able to pick up that solo kill onto CB Batman.
That was almost bad for Blob Fish. I think Jinx was using the minigun version. If that was a rocket, Seeker did land on top of Blob Fish with 1 health, but fortunately for them, it was the minigun and not the shark rocket there. Would have spelled disaster. And would have been another kill for the Typhoons.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Agent Jason being able to start up this drag is big, right? Obviously, up in the top side, 3 grubs going the way of the Typhoons, getting that early, but he might not be able to finish it off as Heiko's caught out by Chief and Symptomatic Link.
Wow.
He just wasn't careful enough on that rotation. Now, Seeker could back up Agent Jason if they decide to rotate up, but they don't want to fight it out. They realize that Blob Fish has to rotate from mid, so they're just going to give over this drag, see it being taken, not go for anything too risky unless Chief wants to try and steal it, but realize that the smite is more than anything that he could do at this stage in the game. And just back it off there with a kill, with those grubs, happy with this early game lead that they have.
Yeah, good on Galvers and knowing, even though Silver did die there, was able to have the manpower to get the dragons. I would say, I mean, Typhoons definitely have the tempo here. Lots of kills. Unfortunately for them, 3 of the 4 kills is onto Chief. Probably not who you want with those kills. So we'll see how much tempo Chief can grab here in the mid game, really. I think if you can convert those early kills into kills for your teammates, then they should be in good hands.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much if you're the Gamblers, right? Obviously, the game definitely not out of control, but it is a bit of a risky start here. Chief picking up all those kills, you know, on the Poppy, you wouldn't expect to be that crazy, but having the Boots of Swiftness, being able to get in, being able to rotate around the map, being able to just run up on people, when you have this Hail Blades, you have all this base damage, is definitely a big strength. Icy Rain as well, being able to land that solo kill is going to make the rest of this lane just so much easier against the Alawi, someone that should really be a massive bully up in the top side, but Icy Rain being able to pick up that early Bramble Vest is going to help a lot.
Yeah. It looks like they're also going to elect to get that tier, probably for Bimbo Winter, as we do see Chief kind of engaging here. Heiko had to burn the ult there. Important to note, I think during that earlier engage here, bot side, Heiko did have to use Ghost, so, but their flash is up for the next fight.
Yep. That is definitely going to be an important summoner. Seeker forced to dash through that earth, but not at any risk of massive damage early on. Going for those Merc Treads as well. I assume not only to help with the magic damage, but that is going to help reduce all the CC with that extra tenacity. And given just how much small and large CC there is on the enemy team, I wouldn't blame it, right? Obviously, everything in Cassante's kit, all the slows, the damage, the pullback that you can get from that Talia, the stuns you can get from Silas, as well as any of those stolen CC ultimates, Ixie, who has the slow and the stun, Chief, you know, it's all adding up. So being able to get that tenacity, I think, is going to be really, really helpful.
Yeah, Typhoons have to be a little careful here. J4 and R are both coming bot. They don't have much wards. They need to anticipate the movement here, as we do see Cherry being pinged out by the Gamblers. They know where she's at, so they can kind of afford to come down, but they are spotted here by this pink ward, which is good on them. Dragon's not up for another 2 minutes. I think in the discussion, I didn't realize Typhoons did get the first batch of void grubs.
Yeah, and seeing if they can get the second batch here with them spawning up. Cherry trying to go in for a gank now to confirm that, but Icy Rain is going to be the one picking up the kill. Nice dash in there. Can see CB Batman trying to turn it, but the ultimate just not quite enough right now. And a second kill going over to Icy Rain, putting the Alawi at 0, 2, and 0 now. Very rough start for the Bruiser.
Yeah, it's gonna be a pain because we thought that with the Alawi they could afford a new way of winning, right, with that split pushing. But with Icy Rain up 2 kills, might be a little bit more difficult. They do see bot side maybe going for a gank on Link, but it's Silas. What can you do?
Yeah, no.
Ooh.
Not a lot, but going.
Whoa.
Don't know about that one, Chief.
Silas
but,
alert.
yeah, being able to maybe dodge out. A nice dodge there. Does manage to use that ultimate to try and buy some time. Asian Jason flashing forward. Symptomatic Link does get the extra heal. The Q's going to be enough in the second auto reset. Symptomatic Link with the turn to get the kill on Asian Jason. Beautiful Silas mechanics right there. Knowing that he had the time, using the stolen ultimate, not just to get the damage, but to force Asian Jason to flash and to buy him enough time for his cooldowns to come back up. Can be able to pick up that kill. Absolutely massive for Symptomatic Link.
Yeah, and that really gives Talia the free reign to kind of go around the map. Maybe get some deeper vision, but it looks like Cherry just going to go form her side of the camps. Ari Braum going to that top side, maybe focusing on a potential Rift Herald, but Herald's not going to be out for a little bit, as we do see Cloud Drake 20 seconds from now.
Yep. 15 seconds now on the Dragon. Both teams sort of positioning in here, moving around. Blah Blah Fish gets a nice charm. Cherry has to be careful. He needs to get that pull. They are going to land the pull and the stun. Blah Blah Fish forced to jump out. And a beautiful knock up there from the Poppy. Blah Blah Fish keeps chasing out. Does have one more charge of the Spirit Rush left. Cherry taking way too much damage there. Has to be careful though. Seeker on the re-engage takes a lot. Symptomatic Link has a nice heal, but Heiko has finally come to join the fight. And Symptomatic Link can only hold on so long before Heiko finishes him off. But Ixie with the big rocket gonna be able to finish off Seeker. The chompers don't quite land, but Ixie's still chasing it down, stacking that lethal tempo, dodging out on the charm. Needs a shot, but it's not gonna land. A beautiful spell shield from Heiko keeps him alive, but it ends up being the Typhoons that come on top of that fight with the priority thanks to Ixie's rotation.
Yeah, they're probably gonna look for this Cloud Dragon. They do have to be careful though. Asian Jason is healing off of these camps. Could go for a steal, as we do see 2 TPs from both mid laners.
Yeah, jumping back in here. Heiko has to be careful. Dash forward from Symptomatic Link. He's going to pick up that first kill. Using the Spirit Rush charges, trying to get a little bit more onto Blah Blah Fish. Needs just a little bit more damage, but Seeker is here to help out.
Wow.
Dashes right back in and finds the second one. Now Seeker running back under the safety of his tower. Can be able to survive, but Symptomatic Link with a beautiful double kill in that 1v3. Now on the top side, Icy Rain trying to get the 1v1 on CB Batman, but he is extended just a little bit too far, thinking that his tower would save him. But the Alawi has come online, has the Phage, has that pickaxe, and just does so much damage. You let her assemble those tentacles. However, has to be careful now. Chief stunning into the wall, and she no longer has an ultimate. Nice flash there, gonna help a lot. Cherry trying to get the damage down. And the healing's coming through. One more auto will do it, and Cherry picks up the kill on the CB Batman, avenging her top laner.
Yeah, CB Batman playing really well against that turret range. I think didn't really take that much damage from the turret plate, and I think Icy Rain thought maybe there would be some damage there. Unfortunately, did get the shutdown, but Batman did have to burn flash, which I don't think he needed to. Nevertheless, did get that shutdown, which should help a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And the Typhoons are sort of assembled just a very small lead in the early game, have now really started putting their foot on the gas and making sure to get these objectives, right? Making sure that the Gamblers don't even get that second drag. They have all 6 scrubs. They're looking for the Herald now. Leads in all roles. And just a very strong showing going into this mid game that I think is going to be really hard to come back from, because despite having really good scaling, Cherry and Ixie just do so much damage. Symptomatic Link can hold on for so long. Icy Rain is completely self-sufficient in these side lanes now, and is going to do so much when he eventually joins the fight. Chief doing a lot as well, but does have to be careful. The engage now from Asian Jason, but a nice keeper's verdict knocks 2 of them back, unfortunately. Good charm for Blah Blah Fish, and Heiko's going to finish off the kill. Does have that Spirit Rush, going to have to go over the wall, and Symptomatic Link does not want to chase any further. Beautiful kill there onto Chief, who just walked a little bit too far into danger without realizing just how much danger he was in.
Yeah, Chief was also half health, I think, taking a lot of poke from Ari in the lane. They do have to be wary here, though. Ixie, no turret this time. Will Talia make it out in time? Oh, Jerry might be stuck there.
Be careful. Heiko with a nice sidestep there. Seeker jumping to his ADC, but getting stunned in the process. However, Asian Jason going forward is going to be able to pick up that kill. Nice shutdown from them, but Ixie is still here, now getting excited. Chief going to pick up the kill. Now Icy Rain is joining in on the fight, and Heiko has to run towards his tower. Symptomatic Link trying to find the support. He just needs a little bit more, but without any flash, without any way out or any ally to jump to, Seeker's eventually going to go down, and they leave Heiko on his lonesome to run back to his tower and recall into safety. A nice shutdown there onto Cherry, but they are punished, eating 2 kills and a lot of priority for it.
Yeah, fortunately, at least Batman's getting some objective damage up here in the top side. Would have liked, you know, the 2 Void Grubs, the 2 Void Mites, but still doing well. So we do see both top laners backing ever so closely to one another. The Soul Dragon is going to be Inferno. I think both teams would be happy to secure just additional damage for the rest of the team, as we do start to see some warding taking place, but with the dragon being 2 minutes away, I think just collecting resources and gold is the name of the game.
Yeah, definitely. And right now, being able to assemble gold, being able to assemble lane priority before these dragons is going to be big. Both teams very happy with the Infernal Drag. Obviously, just getting damage, even if neither have quite started the stacking yet, is still very significant. The Soul obviously providing a bunch of extra bursts is going to be really helpful. But right now, I think being able to go around those drags, get the equivalent of some extra longswords on the rest of your team or some extra AP, just very, very helpful. And right now, it looks like the Typhoons are going to be able to do that relatively easily. However, that shutdown onto Cherry means that the gold is about even, despite having a double kill lead for the Typhoons, because of the 2 towers that the Gamblers were able to get all that extra gold and all of those plates assembled to be a massive, massive gold swing for the people getting them, actually ending up with a gold lead in the bot side for Heiko, despite the fact that he is 1-3-2 and Ixie is 1-0-3. A lot of this gold difference is actually coming from the support role. Now up in the top side, CB Batman's going to be able to get a single kill onto Symptomatic Link, but finished off by Chief. And once again, the support picking up the kill, exacerbating the support gold lead, but not exactly who you wanted on, right? Having all of your gold be on the Poppy is kind of dangerous heading into these mid-game fights, especially with how much burst the Gamblers have.
Yeah, I think they're kind of underestimating the damage the Batman has. 2 full items, maybe I'm not sure before the fight, but 2 full items now. We do see a fight going on mid lane.
Nice cancel from the Flag Drag there. Nice steadfast presence from Chief. Now Root onto Seeker, gonna blow that Celestial opposition, but no more engaged so far. Heiko was forced to use the Hunt, but not gonna be able to get anything else off that. Icy Rain has to be careful though. He might have wandered a bit too far forward as Asian Jason goes in. CB Batman with the TP means that they're gonna have full priority on this drag, and it looks like the Typhoons are gonna be happy to let them have it.
Yeah. Sympto does have teleport, but I think the rest of the team's kind of low, so they might not contest as they are giving it away. Cherry going top side, maybe trying to grab that top turret. As we do see the gold lead actually switching over to the Gamblers. And as I say this, I might be wrong, but I might switch back to the Typhoons for just a brief period of time, as we do see Gamblers getting the mid lane turret here.
Once again, beautiful steadfast presence from Chief, knocking him into the tower. Icy Rain using that ultimate to take him back out and dashing back towards the safety of his team. Symptomatic Link is TP'd in, and they want to look for more. Icy Rain flashing forward, looking for the slows, but has to be careful as Heiko picks up a kill. And the rest of the team is getting absolutely torn apart with Chief going down. Symptomatic Link now trying to chase forward to find a little bit of extra, but the stun from Seeker means that Blah Blah Fish is going to be able to pick up the kill. Ixie's still excited, has to be able to dash out, but Blah Blah Fish does have enough Spirit Rush charges. He has to be careful. One more shot from the tower is going to take him out, but he got the heal. Unfortunately, Seeker going a little bit too far forward to save his mid laner, and will go down in the process. 1 kill over to the Typhoons, but 4 kills for the Gamblers at the end of that fight, who have now solidified their gold lead at 1,000. Just a bit of an overextension there from the Typhoons. Thought they could have kept going, but Heiko absolutely tearing through them with all that Sivir damage.
Yeah, I think you have to be a little careful. I think maybe even though they have 4 kills more than the Gamblers, I think the Typhoons are underestimating how much gold they do not have. The Silas currently at 116 CS at 20 minutes. The Cassante at 124 as well. I think both of those solo laners need to kind of focus on grabbing resources, EXP, gold before they think about fighting again.
Yeah, and right now, I think the Typhoon's biggest threat on the enemy team isn't actually any of these damage dealers, but just how much Seeker is preventing from this engage. You can see that Braum Shield just did so much to stop Ixie from tearing through, despite the fact that he was firing off auto after auto after auto. It didn't matter who he was targeting because the Braum Shield was blocking all of it. So making sure you're smart with your engages, waiting for that very important cooldown to go down, I think is important, especially if you're going to keep chasing, right? Because as long as that Braum Shield's up, I don't think you're getting anything.
Yeah, they have to play a little bit careful here, as we do see Icy Rain kind of fighting DB Batman. We've seen this many times before. Batman definitely has the upper edge now. Has to be careful.
Definitely worrying right now, but Chief not quite going to be able to find anything. And this is part of the problem with having so much gold on the support, right? Is if you're not able to actually find the kills, it really doesn't matter. You're not able to really capitalize on it. Now we have a fight up in the top side, so you're getting Dovon eating a lot of damage, buying enough time as Cherry gets engaged upon. A nice flash there from Asian Drazen to land the knockup. Symptomatic Link going in though and managing to find Heiko, but a nice spell shield blocks a lot of that damage. Now a stun out, not quite able to get the Keeper's Verdict off. Symptomatic Link has to be careful, but an extra charm is going to line up a triple kill for Heiko. And Xy's there just to watch his team fade away after a bad loss. Now an ultimate from CB Batman, but Icy Rain pushing him back under tower. Lots of damage from both top laners. But there's just too many tentacles, and CB Batman going to be able to get the solo kill under the tower. Now a 4,000 gold lead for the Gamblers, who are staring at Baron.
Yeah, good sequence of events for the Gamblers. I think first time now that kills are even since the beginning of the game. Really just executing their comp well. I mean, we did talk about this during the draft. It's a little bit easier on the side of the Gamblers. And unfortunately for the Typhoons, they're losing a little bit of steam. The momentum that they had initially in the earlier stage of game is just not carrying them in this mid game.
No, it definitely isn't. And unfortunately for them, they've been trying to push further and further. And right now they're trying to find a pick on the CB Batman. This could definitely start the turn, but picking up that Infernal Cinder, going to be able to get a move speed boost. Now has to be careful. Doesn't have an ultimate, which means CB Batman is just going to go down with Cherry picking up the kill. And being able to get more gold onto your carries is definitely an option, given how much gold has been going over to the tanks. And you've just been sort of getting outscaled, outpaced. You can see Ixie is on an item and a half. Echo just finished his 3rd item. Now on the Yuntal Wild Arrows, has the full Infinity Edge, has the full Essence Reaver. Super massive on this Sivir with the 3 crit items, 75%. Just absolutely tearing through the Typhoons. And Ixie is still struggling to get that Infinity Edge.
Yeah, I mean the biggest play there in getting Batman down is not having them have Baron buff. But they will be up for this Inferno Drake. I'm assuming they're going to go for it since they do have that Baron buff in them. No one responding to Heiko mid lane, which is a little surprising. So that is a turret in the favor of the Gamblers. 10 seconds left now for the Inferno Drake, and that will put them on soul point.
Yeah, and a massive soul point here would be devastating for the Typhoons, forcing them to walk in to contest that soul when they're already behind, when they already need to buy time, could be massive. Cherry, obviously, on that Talia does not have a way over the wall for a potential steal, so they'd have to fight their way in if they wanted to. However, they're grouped up. Symptomatic Link does have the TP for a potential flank. The Infernal Drake's already down. They're just going to walk themselves out with no real risk. Nice play there from the Gamblers. Picking up the Dragon on spawn, not giving the Typhoons any time. Now they're pushing in the mid lane to maybe find a tower, but without a wave, they're not going to be able to find anything.
Yeah, and someone does need to respond to Batman here. They did send Link over, but I don't think that's enough. No one's really going to be contesting Batman. I think they need to send someone else too.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Symptomatic Link going for the 1v1, missing that second E is going to be devastating. Now a big team fight breaking out of the mid lane. Cherry already half health and Heiko's going forward. All that move speed is just going to be enough to run down 2 people with 2 kills already being picked up. CXC trying desperately to get that reset, but not being able to get the first kill. Finally going to be getting excited, but it might be too little too late with blah blah Fish Nation Jason flashing forward. Going to be able to land maybe the second kill. Will be able to get it, but it's just a little bit too little as Heiko picks up his what is that? 3rd kill of the fight, just tearing through the team so much, doing so much damage. And Symptomatic Link not able to hold his own against CB Batman, who's 2 levels up, pushing in that top side. And the Gamblers have completely taken over this game, winning every team fight, every side lane. An absolute brutal showing across the entirety of the map.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a really good dissection on the side of Gamblers. The early game was a little rough. They give up a lot of key kills and objectives. But they're doing so well in these fights. And I think a big part of it is just their focus on getting these resources. I mean, across the board, if you look at the CS differences and the gold differences, it's staggering at 26 minutes. And you gotta wonder at what point the Typhoons need to also just focus. They do have 1 inhib down. It might alleviate some pressure in the sense that they do get that golden experience point from the supers. But I think they need to focus on getting those resources and then deciding which fight to go for, because these half-baked fights are just really going into the favor of the Gamblers.
Yeah, definitely. Right now, I'm kind of worried about if the Typhoons are going to be able to get back into this game, right? The Gamblers have just been showing up every team fight in the side lanes. You know, CB Batman was getting picked off kind of a lot, but because he was just hanging out in the side lane so much, is 3 levels up on his lane opponent, 2 levels up on the other solo laner on the enemy team. Absolutely just cannot be matched right now. 3 full items on the Alawi, can 1v1 anyone on the enemy team. See, Batman doesn't even need to group. As long as he's putting pressure in that side lane, he's forcing an answer because of how fast he kills objectives, because of how strong he is. Now with a, what is that? That's a 6,500 gold lead for the Gamblers. We're just going more and more and more in this game. 4 full items now finished for Heiko, picking up the LDR, giving him all of that armor pen, means even the tanks aren't safe anymore.
Yeah, I know they're going in for this bot lane, but I do suspect they should switch lanes pretty soon. The next objective is that Baron at 1 minute. So it would be a good time to kind of flip over there, but it seems like they're just focusing on getting this tower. The wave is crashing now. Also on the top side, Batman already out inhibitor. Probably will win that 1v1 too, so they do need to send someone else or just contest this fight. But Cherry almost already half health lost.
No, I have to say, nice knockback there though, and a good steadfast presence can put Seeker to half. However, meanwhile on that top side, CB Batman has just been pushing the towers with absolutely no fear. Icy Rain, level 14, not quite able to get these fights off, and CB Batman just ushering these waves in, wave after wave after wave. Now going to be forced to back off. Icy Rain maybe trying to get the pink. They have to find this Alawi because the bot side's just being torn apart by the rest of the team, dragging them in all different directions, and the Typhoons look absolutely lost right now.
Yeah, they need to just contest one way or the other, as Ixie is down to half health too. They're splitting their resources and not really contending. They're going for Batman with 2 people, but I don't think these are the right 2 people either.
Now CB Batman can be able to turn this into 1v2. It looks like so much healing going down. Symptomatic Link not quite able to save his top laner, who might go down as well. A double kill now for CB Batman at the enemy team's Nexus towers. Now Heiko popping that on the hunt, using the flash forward there. Blah blah Fish and Agent Jason going to be able to finish it off. It is just Chief left alive, and it won't be enough. Finally going to be able to take out a double kill for his troubles. But an absolute dominant performance in the mid game from the Gamblers is going to close game 1 out in dominant fashion. Unfortunately, Chief not quite able to carry the game on this tank support Poppy despite all of these kills.
Yeah, really surprising game for the Typhoons. I think their early game went very well in their favor. I thought, you know, with the Cassandra getting 2 kills ahead of this Alawi that early on, would have been great. But unfortunately, that one fight topside, that shutdown going over to Batman really turned the tides in the favor of the Gamblers, and they couldn't really do anything. And It was quite shocking to me.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, right? It's that mid-game transition that they really just fumbled, right? The early game was going so well. They had everything lined up, but between the towers, the overextensions, the trying to 1v1 CB Batman just a little bit too much. I mean, they were not respecting the gamblers at all going into that mid-game, and I think it really came back to bite them. I think going into this next match, this next game, they're really going to have to adapt to that and realize, okay, we played a little too aggressive. We were not respectful at all. We weren't accounting for a lot of these different variables that we had to be. But this is very adaptable, right? It was very close until it wasn't. I think there's a very real chance Typhoons come back. This is not as one-sided as we've seen a lot of our other game ones be. That being said, though, the gamblers are no slouches. Despite that bad early start, Heiko and CB Batman both, honestly, coming back in dominant fashion, being able to really carry their own weight and put in so much work on their respectful sides. Meanwhile, the rest of the team just making sure to back them up wherever they can and doing a great job at it.
Yeah, and I think they were able to really maneuver fights well. I think on the side of gamblers, I think they were really just focusing on making sure this Poppy wouldn't stop their dashes. And I think once that was over, it kind of gave them like the full clearance to really fight there. It was hard to kind of go behind the Braum, behind the Jarvid to go for the Silver. And then props to Silver too, playing it well, being safe and doing damage. I think coming to this next draft, it's less of a comp issue and more of an execution issue, right? As you alluded to. I mean, Typhoons aren't out of this just yet, but they do need to adapt with how they're playing. I think they were a little split, especially in the latter stages of the fight. So we'll see how they kind of bounce back here. As we do take a short break, as we do get into draft, Game 2 between Typhoons and Gamblers will start soon. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back into draft for game 2 of our series, the Gamblers versus the Typhoons. Pretty interesting start to that. Typhoons doing very well in that early game, but failing that mid-game transition, opening themselves up, and the Gamblers taking full advantage, running through the mid-game and the late game in a dominant fashion with that Sivir, using that movement speed, going full force ahead, being able to land a lot of value through dragon stacking, through the objectives, through forcing, especially through that side lane, the CB Batman. And the Typhoons are really going to have to adapt to that and really focus on their mid-game transition, quite honestly, if they want to have a chance at this.
Yeah, and as we do see here, the Typhoons have elected to go red side. Bans not really different thus far. Nocturne, Seraphine banned again. Gwen being banned as well. We did see last game that the Ashe was banned on the Gamblers. I'm going to assume they will not ban the Ashe. More so a red side pick in fear of the B1 pick. We'll see if there's any changes made, as we do see our first adaptation of the game and banning that Poppy.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, it was definitely a massive advantage for the Typhoons. Did very well. And honestly, the Steadfast Princesses, the Keeper's verdicts were all really beautiful. But I think there was a disconnect in how much Poppy was doing versus how much the team was able to follow up on it.
Yeah, and we'll see what Typhoons elect to ban this time around. It was the Olaf. I don't think they would ban it this time around. Instead, really banning the Xin, which is surprising considering it wasn't really picked or banned the previous game.
No, and leaving the Ashe up, saying if the Gamblers want to take it, that they can, which means they probably have a priority pick and a counter pick waiting, sort of daring the Gamblers to go for it.
Yeah, and it seems like they did. Maybe some time to deliberate, but they did pick the Ashe. J4 being hovered this time around was powerful in the hands of the Gamblers. We'll see if they decide to lock it in here.
Yeah. With the Poppy banned out, it is a lot safer. And the Poppy ban being done for them is definitely a play. Taking away the Jarvan as well is going to be really valuable because one of Ashe's best qualities is the ability to engage from a long distance away and gives openings where there otherwise wouldn't be, which is really good for the Jarvan. So being able to yoink that Jarvan away, and now the Braum as well, making sure that they don't have that Ashe-Braum combo, the sort of Freljord bot lane that's been very prevalent that we've seen quite a lot of, just because the safety and damage it can pump out while being very, very hard to engage upon and also being able to follow up quite well.
Yeah, we'll see if they will respond in kind here with a support pick, or maybe wait for a later time. First, trying to see what the Typhoon's going to pick AD, as they do end up picking Talia this time around, getting it out of Sherry's hands. I'm assuming that's going to be jungle. Could, again, still be support pick as well.
Nope.
Yeah, and I'm not too surprised to see it, but I do like the Lulu here. Going for Enchanter. Now, the biggest thing here is that you have a lot of range, you have a good peel, but you are playing into a Jarvan. You need a front line here, or you're going to get absolutely torn through if you're not able to establish that front line, right? Because the Jarvan being able to go in, being able to be followed up by the Braum, if you don't have any defense, can be absolutely devastating. The Kog'Maw locked in for the Typhoons, not only providing them a lot of range, but a lot of extra damage, especially because they already have the Jarvan for the engage. They already have the Braum with the ability to peel. Means that Kog'Maw is going to be very safe to pump out damage without massive risk because of all of this damage being loaded into projectiles.
Yeah, and I think picking this Lulu too prevents Typhoons from grabbing that as well. With the Typhoons banning the Cassante this time, telling Batman to play another top laner. As we do see Ambessa banned out once again from the Gamblers. We'll see if the trend of top lane ban continues. We did see Mundo, Jax, and Wukong being banned. So I feel like that pattern will continue, as we do see Jax being hovered here for the ban, the final ban from the Typhoons. Only a matter of seconds before it's locked in, and it is.
Yeah, and I definitely like this pick, this ban, right? Being able to get the Cassante out and the Jax ban. realizing I think that the Cassante is contested and that you're not going to go it on B4, that tells me that the Typhoons are going to pick their mid here and that they're waiting on a top counter pick. So this is what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if the Gambler's going to ban out a mid that they might be able to pick or top lane. It does look like they're going to ban out one of those safe mids in the Orianna, which I'm not too shocked to see. The Hwei and the Syndra both still up, I think provide a lot of value for this team comp. The Ahri is as well.
Yeah, I was
Without
gonna
a Poppy-
say.
Without a Poppy to stop all those Spear Rush dashes can be very, very strong. However, the Talia could still go mid, right? And is very strong in that Ahri because that E stops all of those Ahri dashes, stuns him out, has a lot of range, but it looks like the Typhoons are still going to go for it. I think that's not enough of a trade-off. I think we feel very strongly. It also backs up the Jarvan very well, obviously, like we talked about, doubles down on that engage, which means that the Gamblers are going to have to really go all in on a front line here if they don't want to, if they don't play enough range. Or, and this is sort of the forbidden draft tech, right? The very scary draft tech, doubling and tripling down on range and going for peel. That doesn't look like what they're going to do, establishing the Amumu that gives them their engage, that also gives them a lot of CC. However, I think it does confirm that the Talia is probably going mid now.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think on the top side now, they kind of want someone to follow up with this Mumu. It doesn't have to be too tanky as the Kog'Maw will shred, but I think a bruiser that can kind of get into your face. I was thinking the Jax, but Jax is banned. But instead, going for that Olaf.
Yeah, and I like to see that.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be really strong, especially with how much CC has already been established. Olaf also is just very strong right now. One of those sort of sleeper picks that I think a lot of people haven't been realizing, but pretty good win rate, pretty good data on him, shows that he's actually in quite a good spot. That being said, has a lot of extremely hard counter picks if the Typhoons actually play it. If they don't, though, they might just end up getting knowledge checked, thinking that they had a counter pick, and it ends up being really, really bad for them because they don't actually know how to play that matchup. So we'll see if they end up going for the safe pick or if they're going to go for a potential counter pick here.
What pick was that again?
It's the Gnar. It's the Gnar. So that is a good in lane. Not great in the rest of the game. Can definitely get run down a lot by that Olaf. And I like it, but it's very much an early level pick. If this Gnar is not able to get an advantage in those first 3 to 4 levels, can definitely play a big risk because of how fast the Olaf can catch up.
Yeah. Looking at both team comps this time, I think the Gamblers again still have the comp that's a little bit easier to execute. I think just a simple stun and engage is all they really need to start a fight. And I'm wondering how the Typhoons can really approach these objective fights, right? With a Gnar that needs to kind of flank and set up for its ultimate. I guess the J4, Ahri, and the Braum are a little bit more simple to function. But I fear that the Gamblers drafted pretty well.
Yeah. And despite the bot lane doing so well, something that, affected last game is the CB Batman's amazing side laning, right? Just drew so many people over, got so much value, so many towers. And if he's able to do that again, it doesn't really matter how good your team fights are because you just end up losing so much value. So I think it's really going to be on them to be able to answer this Olaf in the side lane while simultaneously being able to play to their strengths as a comp, being able to group as 4 and still win those fights, which I think is definitely possible. But I do still think this is anyone's game. I have not seen enough from either team to really heavily confirm that, yeah, one team is just so much better than the other.
Yeah, and we'll see if there's going to be any different pathing for the junglers as well, to see if they have a specific focus in game 2. With that being said, we are going to take a short break as we load onto the Rift. Will the Gamblers make it an easy series, trying to claim that 3-0 victory, or will Typhoons come back for a series? Don't go anywhere. Hello and welcome back to Game 2 of the semifinals round between the Gamblers and the Typhoons. We just saw the Gamblers holding on to a rough start to the game, but really coming back into the mid game and kind of taking it off there. Some adjustments in the draft picks and bans. We'll see how the Typhoons respond in kind. A 5-point start from both teams. We'll see if this time around, though, if the junglers are going to path towards the same direction. We did see a lot of influence in that top side in the previous game. So we'll see if both the junglers kind of carry themselves over to that part of the map early on. Both Amumu and J4 currently on the top side, though, but they'll have some time before the waves are spawning. I say this and the waves have spawned.
Yeah. Looks like they are both going to be starting towards that. Nope, the Amumu's walking down. Okay, so they will both start at their respective red buffs, it looks like, with Cherry staying up there. Not that surprised. The red buff start is pretty common. It does look like the Amumu is actually just going to start the Raptors instead of the red buff, just to get that early clear on the minions because of all the strong AoE. And we'll see if maybe we end up seeing like a cheesy little 3-camp into a gank. If you go down all the way towards your Krugs, you do end up having to walk all the way back up and, you know, losing a lot of time on that clear if you decide to full clear. So I definitely look for a potential bot gank from Amumu. However, when it comes to laning, I think the biggest lane to watch is this top lane, right? Especially early on, Icy Rain needs to be able to abuse these Gnar levels early on, or that Olaf is going to be extremely threatening.
Yeah, especially since Olaf does have Ghost, right? So if Icy Rain can just mitigate some of that pressure earlier on and kind of force Olaf to back and return to lane and like lose tempo, I think that'll be huge. And so really just needs to focus on abusing that range. We say this though, currently Rain is being pushed under turret.
Yeah, and this is part of the power of the Olaf early, right? Being able to throw those axes through the entire lane and also get poke at the same time while still having good sustain with that lifesteal means that that range pick is still very difficult. And I imagine Icy Rain really picked this champion to be able to do, you know, pretty well in lane, but then also be able to side lane and still group with his team while not losing so much.
Yeah, as we do see the cheaters recall coming from Batman, interrupted, it seems, from Icy Rain.
Yeah, an exhaust there from Chief. Heiko just doing so much damage in this bot side, but is going to eventually be tagged. Flash forward from Cherry, not quite able to land the knockup, but then flash forward from Ixie as well. Going to be able to land first blood onto Heiko, and a beautiful try means that he's going to be able to land a second as well. Double kill in the bot side for Ixie, picking up the first 2 kills of the game, getting a massive lead in this bot side early on.
Yeah, good gank there from Cherry. I think I wasn't sure if they were doing Gromp there, but really followed through with that. Secures them that kill. Was really close to dying from Ixie, but double kill and already a bounty. 13 CS up. Really can't complain about that great of a start.
No, really great start, but also something to note. Cherry kind of bailed them out there, right? Heiko was doing a really good job of spacing in that fight. Chief forcing to use the exhaust just to stop all the damage that was coming through because of how threatening that Ashe was being. Now CB Batman pops the ghost, forcing the flash out of Icy Rain. However, Islo mana doesn't have enough for multiple axes, so has to be careful. However, Asian Jason is up here, looking for a potential dive, and Icy Rain knows it. CB Batman using the axe is able to land that, getting a lot of damage down onto Icy Rain, who needs to get this form, needs to be careful. Dodging out on Asian Jason's bandage toss, but a nice flash there from CB Batman means that he's going to land that solo kill.
Yeah, I like the idea there, as we do see Asian Jason getting caught by Cherry, but Cherry kind of scared, not knowing what his Olaf is.
Yeah. Realizing that the Olaf back, though, means Cherry's just going to be able to walk forward. However, Asian Jason is up a level, and Cherry is not backed yet. That being said, the health differences might be enough. Bloblobfish on the rotate, but is low on mana. Has enough for a Q. An engage there from Cherry, but does miss the flag and drag. Has to be careful now that Icy Rain has finally come up. Flash forced out from Bloblobfish as well. Gonna force Icy Rain over the wall, and both are gonna back up. However, 2 flashes were burnt for the Gamblers to escape.
Yeah. Really aggressive there. I think a little bit of miscommunication. I think if they just waited a little bit longer, or if Ari kind of pivoted towards the top side faster, would have secured more. But instead, a trade of many summoners across both teams. And we'll see how the Typhoons kind of use this bot lane pressure that they've surmounted for themselves, and see what kind of pressure they can get. As Link is
Yeah, bit of danger right now. Blobblebfish doing very well. Doesn't have the ultimate to keep chasing, but has enough mana to keep poking if Symptomatic Link is not careful. However, Symptomatic Link does have that Spirit Rush, so there's not a massive risk. Now the ultimate in from Blobblebfish, but Symptomatic Link just going to use that Spirit Rush out. Not at any real risk of dying as early on as the Ari. Symptomatic Link being able to push that out is big. However, the Spirit Rush is definitely on a shorter cooldown than that Weaver's Wall, so it's going to cut out a lot of rotation and cut off pressure from the Talia, which I think is really meaningful. And, you know, Ixie just pushing this lead, getting the CS up in the spot side. However, we have seen Heiko come back. Heiko, not a great start last game, and look how well that turned out. So, you never quite count him out. Yeah, Cherry going to be able to pick up one, but Asian Jason, with the help of his team and full prio, means that he's probably just going to pick up the rest of those.
Yep. We'll see if Cherry and Link will come bot side here to get the Ocean Dragon.
Yeah.
No real way to kind of enter, so I think it is theirs for the keeping.
Yeah, there's no real way to contest this at this stage in the game. Obviously, your jungler and your mid laner and your top laner are all like grubs. You're not strong enough to fight a 3v2, so you just give that away. And honestly, I think the Typhoons are happier with this outcome, right? They get one of the grubs, so they don't get the full 3 grubs. They also get a dragon off of that. They get to fall back. They're still pushing their lead. All's well with the world, you know, nothing too crazy happening. However, the Gamblers doing a good job of finding these micro plays where they can get them, right? Picking up the 2 grubs, picking up some plates here and there, and a massive CS lead in the top side, and a pretty healthy one in the jungle as well. Means that they're really not that far behind. They're actually ahead.
Yeah, pretty surprising, right? Considering that 2 kills early in the game. We'll probably not see any action as almost all champions besides the mid laners, top laners, are going for that level 6. As I say this, as Jason just turned level 6. We'll see if he ganks top side. He is hovering around the area. Cherry just kind of farming here for her level 6 as well.
Yeah, and right now, both teams have to, so I think all solo laners sort of have to be careful right now, especially Icy Rain, because of how strong CV Batman is. You know, we say strong, like there's no complete items, but the Phage on the Olaf is so strong, giving you movement speed on all those autos, plus the slows from the axes, and the approach velocity means you just have so much damage up in that top side, and so much sticking power despite the fact that Icy Range has the range advantage and a dash.
Yeah, I think the only way really to kind of contain this Olaf in the middle of a fight is that J4 ultimate, kind of keeping him there. So we do see a good amount of poke into Heiko.
Locked into prison. Asian Jason going in. A nice curse to Sad Mummy, but he's still looking caught right now. A lot of damage coming through. And Symptomatic Link does manage to dodge out on the second bandage toss. Will eventually get hit with the Ashe ultimate. And that puts him in a very dangerous spot. Has to keep dodging out. Has to keep buying time. And Chief comes in.
Wow.
Just in the nick of it to give him all those resistances and keep him alive. Nice collapse there onto Asian Jason, who wasn't really accounting for it. Blubblebfish going in though. A nice charm there from Symptomatic Link. And Chief landing the slow, however Seeker is here. Ixie on the rotate though, wants to get these autos, is going to be able to land the stun. The pushback does get a little bit of time, but the ultimate there from Cherry being able to land that Cataclysm makes sure that Blobblebfish won't be able to escape.
Yeah, I mean, the idea was good, trying to stop the back, but I think all you needed to do was use your ultimate to stop the back, not even contest, because the team was around, as we do see a big fight coming here bot side.
Yeah, Chief and Ixie kind of getting run down right now, and this is what we were talking about. Heiko just doing so well on this Ashe, really knows how to space. Cherry here to back up the rest of the team. Chief going forward, using the dash back out. Asian Jason was there, potentially looking to keep going for a dive, but with Cherry here and Ixie and Chief buying enough time for themselves and no wave, it's a little bit too difficult.
Yeah, good flash on Chief. I think without that flash, would have definitely gone down.
Yeah.
Help stabilize that, as we do see all of bot side here from Typhoons going towards those Void Grubs that are spawning pretty soon. I think wanting to get the 4 for that first Void Might.
Yeah, and with all of them up there, they should probably be able to do that. However, they will be conceding plates and a lot of gold in that bot side to do so. Now Symptomatic Link looking for the charm, not quite going to be able to land it, but Cherry is here, and so is Ixie. However, without the Cataclysm, they won't quite be able to find anything. However, they know now that because of all those rotations, that Heiko is completely safe in this bot side, already down 1 plate. Ixie already missing a lot of CS, means Heiko is going to be able to sort of even up this golden damage, maybe not completely, but going to be able to do a lot of work in this bot side. Now CB Batman has to be careful. Ice Ring, Cherry, and Chief all up here, but no Cataclysm just yet. Pops the Ragnarok, so he is CC immune. Trying to run out now. Forced to use the flash as well. Cherry keeps going forward. Chief with a nice little flash Q. Sorry, jump Q, but not quite going to be able to land the rest of that. Ixie, meanwhile, is forced to use flash as Asian Jason was trying to wrap around and look for a fight there. Now Symptomatic Link forced to run top a bot side to make sure Heiko doesn't get that. And Heiko, without any recourse, out any flash, any way out, means Symptomatic Link is going to pick up the kill. However, funnily enough, Asian Jason and Seeker might be able to stop them from getting the full 4 Void Grubs.
Teleport.
However, Chief cutting him off, looking for more. Cherry going a bit too far in, and a nice curse with Sad Mummy is going to give Asian Jason the first kill of the fight. But a beautiful ultimate into the wall from Icy Rain is going to buy just enough time to kill Asian Jason. Olaf Fish and Seeker keeps fighting back. Ixie doing a lot of damage, but Olaf on the flank is very, very strong. The pullback from Ixie, who's not quite able to cleanse it in time, and a beautiful shutdown now for CB Batman, who's tearing through this fight now. A triple kill, keep chasing it down, and Symptomatic Link doesn't have that Spirit Rush, doesn't have any way out. A quadra kill for CB Batman. 3 shutdowns is absolutely giant in this game. Almost a 40 CS advantage, 5 full kills, and I'd be damned if he is not at least 2,000 gold up on his counterpart now. I think the entire gold difference is up in that top side. Yeah, over a 2,000 gold lead now for that Olaf, who has easily become the Gambler's win condition there. From a 1-6 lead for the Typhoons to an even scoreline and a 3,000 gold difference.
Yeah, I mean, Typhoons definitely had the tempo initially. They were able to get control of the Void Grubs. Ari had the damage.
Flashing forward. Gonna be able to get Cherry, who's trying to get that Infernal Dragon, but caught too far up. Now CB Batman, look at that. So low, not even scared of Icy Rain because of how much healing has, so much damage as well. Just 2 autos, 2 axes, and an E puts Icy Rain in almost death. And that's not even amounting to the fact that he hasn't backed yet. He's probably on more than an item. He's just sitting on this gold. And yeah, the Typhoons were, doing well, but in just 1 fight, all of that changed. A massive gold swing, a full stride breaker, boots, and some components on top of it is going to mean that CB Batman is terrifying right now.
Yeah, and what seems to be a repeat of the previous game, the Gamblers have already gotten a lead this time at 13 minutes instead of in the 20s. As I was saying earlier, I think that pick off of Heiko was crucial, but instead of going for the Void Grubs and getting, what I would suspect a free objective, they elected to try to go and gank Batman, lost some time, allowed Gamblers to establish vision, then took a while and instead fought instead of going for the Void Grubs. I don't know. I think they're just making a lot of these macro mistakes, and it's costing them dearly.
Yeah, and this mid game is what we've been talking about, right? The Typhoons just not quite able to get it, and I know a lot of people were really gassing them up going into this series, but the Gamblers proving why they were the first seed. They have not fallen off. They do not want to lose their crown just yet.
Yeah. We do see Inferno Soul is already up. I'm sorry, not Soul. Inferno Dragon already up.
No,
we'll
not
see.
Soul quite yet.
Yeah, we'll see how they approach the fight.
Cherry caught trying to take a ward. Cursed Sad Mummy comes out and blah blah fish picks up the kill. Just up too far on this Jarvan once again.
Oh,
a beautiful arrow from Heiko is going to give blah blah fish a second kill. And that's going to be full priority for the Gamblers to pick up this dragon. Heiko cannot miss these Ash arrows. Has been so good with them so far. Absolutely Devze, despite the scoreline, despite the gold, doing so well in the bot lane, the arrows have been so helpful as well.
Yeah, I think they're trying to get something here.
Yeah, Seeker a bit too far up, not respecting the fact that Kog'Maw does have that Bork, does have the boots. Still really strong, right? Obviously, you're feeling yourselves, you're feeling really good about this game, but you do still have to show respect to the Kog'Maw, who is 4-1, and is definitely the Typhoon's main win condition now.
Yeah, I think just I was gonna say the Asian Jason didn't really need to use that ultimate there, but did secure that kill. I don't know. It's looking like a dire situation for the Typhoons. I think you're right. Xe is probably gonna be the one and only win con here with 4 kills. But even then, this might be a little behind this Ash. They need to execute these fights pretty well, and I think that's what's gonna make these that difficult for them to come back.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And your main way going back, obviously, is getting a big fight where Kog'Maw can pop off. And that's going to mean peel, but it's also going to mean making sure that Olaf doesn't find the flank, that he's not able to just pop that Ragnarok and run down Ixie without being able to be peeled. Now Cherry was down here, potentially looking for a dive, but Heiko's not even scared, knows his team's there. A nice Weaver's Wall from Blob Blob Fish to join up with the rest. And engage now from Cherry, locking 2 people in that Cataclysm, and Ixie's doing so much damage. This is a start. This is what we were talking about. Double kill now for Ixie, and Blob Blob Fish forced to run out. Not quite going to be able to land that knockback, but safety under his tower. Going to be able to clear out this wave without any real risk. The charm goes wide. But now on the top side, CB Batman using that Rift Herald, getting so much down. A flash forward from Ixie is going to be able to pop that passive from Chief. Although Chief does eventually go down, it's going to be another kill for Ixie. And a triple kill now for the Kog'Maw being able to be picked up. Definitely your way back into this game. However, for their troubles, they will lose a top tower. Probably 2, as well as a lot of damage on their mid lane tier 2. So, you know, they did very well, but they were still losing something. This is good on the Gamblers to make sure that they're still capitalizing, even when things are going poorly on the other side of the map.
Ooh. Also, Xe did dodge that Ash arrow. Would have probably spelled a defeat there for Xe if it landed, but no, dodged it. As I say this, Heiko.
Lots of move speed with the Australia's Reverie. Ixie forced to cleanse the slow. Now under his tower, has to be careful though, but going back for that last auto might have doomed him. Will be able to pick up the kill, but I don't think it's worth it. A massive shutdown over to Heiko. And I think if Ixie kept running, Heiko would have just died under tower without being able to get that kill, but nope, Ixie turned back for that one auto. And while he was able to return the kill, giving Heiko the shutdown, I don't think evens them up in gold, but is definitely not the same equivalent, right? Obviously, being able to get the shutdown for that Ash is going to be worth a lot more than just getting the cheap 300 gold.
Yeah, and now in a repeat of game 1, I mean, Batman really taking control of the off lane here. Looks like J4 was joining the Gnar earlier on. Now Ixie kind of joining the Gnar. 2 minutes until the next dragon, which I know it says Inferno in the UI, but really it's Chemtech.
It is Chemtech, so yeah. The Stridebreaker and the Sundered Sky both finished now for CB Batman at 2 full items. Icy Rain doesn't even have 1. Now CB Batman is showing respect because Ixie is up here, and he knows that Ixie is the one that deals all the damage, is that primary win condition. Now engage in the mid lane, Cherry trying to go forward, but Chief might have stepped a bit too far up. They have so much move speed now. Look at how much damage this Ash pumps out. Just so quick as well. But the re-engage now from Cherry needs to be able to get this Cataclysm, and Ixie keeps going forward. Needs to find the damage. Flash Curse the Sad Bummy from Asian Jason. Gonna get a lot of damage, but Ixie's still doing so well in this fight. And a beautiful flank from Symptomatic Link is gonna mean that Ixie's gonna be able to land another 3 kills. All these kills over to Ixie, just doing so much work. Meanwhile, though, CB Batman was able to pick up that tier 2 in the top side, and Blob Blob Fish was able to pick up the tier 1 on that bot side. 700 gold over to CB Batman, 350 over to Blob Blob Fish. Ixie able to take out the Typhoon's second tower, and it really is the Kog'Maw shot right now. That is the big way the Typhoons get back in this game.
Ixie.
They are still down gold, have to be careful, but he's walking into the knockup, and Blob Blob Fish picks up the shutdown again. Ixie falling right after a great play, just overextending a little bit too much.
Yeah, lots of repetitions this game because 3 to 5 minutes earlier, the same thing happened. Double, triple kill onto this Kog'Maw, but at the same time, towers falling mid and top. And again, this time, a couple of kills onto the set of Typhoons in the mid lane, but they did lose top turret and bot turret. And in both instances, Kog'Maw giving 2 shutdowns over to the Gamblers.
Yeah. And, you know, the biggest thing here that I'm looking at right now is the ability for these teams to team fight, right? To be able to do this, because the Gamblers don't want to team fight. They want to let CB Batman go to town in these side lanes. Blob Fish has been doing a really good job, right? Can join up with the team if needed because of that Weaver's Wall, but just so good in the side lanes. But Typhoons want to force it. They want to be saying, we want team fights, please come to us. And the Gamblers are just not doing that. They're not allowing that to happen. And as long as they're careful, I think the Gamblers are going to have a very hard time. Or sorry, I think the Typhoons are going to have a really hard time actually forcing those team fights, right? Being able to force the Gamblers to come to them because they're only on one dragon. Baron's not a real threat at this stage in the game, so there's not a lot of reasons to group as 5 and force people in, especially when CB Batman can just take towers on towers if left unanswered. Even now, under tower, forcing out so much damage from Symptomatic Link, eventually gonna have to pop the Ragnarok, needs to finish off this tower and the gold will go over. Looking for some extra healing, but the Bramble Vest, or sorry, the Executioner's Calling, doing enough heal cut to give a big shutdown over to Symptomatic Link. And that's going to be devastating for CB Batman, who now without any prio isn't going to be able to keep split pushing. However, the pick onto Cherry does give the Gamblers room to potentially look for this Baron. However, Ixie is very strong. Chief's still very strong, and I think the Gamblers know this. They know they have to back off, that they can't quite do this Baron, so long as the Typhoons are willing to fight it.
Yeah.
Oh, no, an amazing bandage toss there from Asian Jason, and Ixie caught out again. Blob Fish with a double kill now. Symptomatic Link getting run down, and Heiko doing his absolute best to run the rest of the team in. Typhoons backing up. Icy Rain trying to run for the hills, but a beautiful polymorph from Seeker is going to give Blob Fish his 3rd kill of that fight, and the Gamblers find their fight. Amazing bandage toss there from Asian Jason to find Ixie. If he had not done that, they absolutely would not be able to get that engage, but that beautiful engage is going to swing the game in their favor
himself
even further. Nice ultimate there from Heiko on Cherry, who realizes that that Ashe is absolutely devastating on the 2 items and is forced to back out. The Typhoons cannot catch a break, it seems like.
Yeah, I think a bit of miscommunication there. I think Amumu with his ultimate is a big CC lockdown. And not having vision there really spelled disaster for them. Being able to get the pick onto Cherry once again, huge. The deficit now at a staggering 7k, a little under 7k. I don't know. It feels like a rinse and repeat of the previous game. I think you're right. The Typhoons are trying to find these fights, but the tempo really belongs to the Gamblers. They're setting side lanes after side lane, like wave after wave. There's always someone on the side lanes, and the Typhoons are being kind of dragged. They're not really setting the pace, and because of that, they can't get the team fight that they want.
Yeah. And quite honestly, I'm kind of wondering why the Typhoons keep stepping forward without full vision on the engage, right? If you do not have full vision on Asian Jason at all times, you should not be walking your carry up. It is just too dangerous. It is too risky, right? When Asian Jason can always just flash, look for the Crystal Sad Mummy. However, Asian Jason goes in and not quite able to land it. Ixie kiting back with a nice flash, takes out CB Batman as well, and this might be the fight that they found. A nice flank from AC Rain. Flash forward, knocks 2 people into the wall, and Blob Fish is the only one left alive. A double kill now for Symptomatic Link. Needs to land a little bit more. A flash forward from Chief, though, puts up the wall. And Blob Fish can do nothing but watch as his team is torn to shreds. An ace there for the Typhoons, completely turning this game around. And I don't think they can end quite yet, but they're going to be able to land a couple towers off of it. They're going to be able to get a lot. And despite the Gamblers being able to pick up the Baron, it's Typhoons that come out on top.
Yeah, without the help of the Void Mites here, I think they can only get inhib as Asian Jason is up. Lulu following quite soon as well. No, they're just electing to give it off. I think they want to kind of save the tempo there for Dragon, but I think they should have went for the inhib. As they are looking to back here, maybe their timer is a little bit staggered. Cherry already going towards that bot side here. But yeah, good execution on the side of Typhoons. I think after getting Baron, I think there was a miscommunication on Gamblers on how to approach these fights. And I think that was the opening that Typhoons were looking for. I mean, it was really hard for them when the Gamblers were split across the map. But when all 5 Gamblers are like trying to get this Baron, it really helps Ixie lay down the damage.
Yeah, and being able to buy time for Ixie is really the primary goal, right, of the Typhoons. Because as you can see, when Ixie can pop off in that fight, when that Kog'Maw can do that damage, you kind of just win. There's not really a lot of counterplay to that aside from diving it, but if you're not able to land that initial dive, if that Kog'Maw gets going, it's just a little bit too risky to take the fight. You just have to try and disengage, but you can't do that because Cherry, Symptomatic Link, Chief can all keep going forward, keep putting this pressure down. So it's really on you to make sure you land these kills, or just don't interact at all, right? I think they should go back to the original game plan and just keep side laning. It's what's been working for them, what works well. It's what gets them all the pressure now. Blah Blah Fish able to land this escape thanks to that Weaver's Wall, and it is sole point now for the Gamblers.
Yeah, it's important to note too that even though Typhoons really won that fight and got a lot of shutdowns there, they still have to be careful, right? They are still behind about 4K after all of that shutdown. So they still need to be a little bit wary. At least for them, they afford a bit more time. 3.5 minutes until Baron, 4.5 minutes until the potential Cloud Soul for the Gamblers. So I think at this point, maybe applying some late vision here, deep vision here, just focusing on farm is the name of the game.
Yeah, and right now, I think the Gamblers really just waiting for that next Baron so that they can set up the side lanes properly, maybe force a team fight, but I don't know if they're going to go for that, especially after how the last one turned out. I think they're just going to really double and triple down on this split push power and the side lane pressure from the Olaf.
Yeah, as they should. If you look across the board on the items, there's a Mumu, Asian Jason, 3 full items, Jarvan, an item and a half, now just 2 items, Olaf at 3 items, but this Gnar, 1.5 to 2 items this time. So it's a little hard for Typhoons to approach, as we do see Chief getting engaged on.
Yeah, and Chief just walking too far, getting caught out. Don't know why you're up that far as a support. When you know the entire jungle is dark, you don't have anyone with you. The Gamblers aren't on the map, which means they're probably looking to start pushing up. You know, they probably have vision on you if your entire map is dark, so you have to be careful. Now Cherry going in, able to land that Cataclysm, which means CB Batman not going to be able to get on Ixie, but he's going to use the flash to be able to do it. Going in, landing a bunch of healing, but eventually will go down with Cherry picking up the kill.
Yeah, good job on Typhoons on using the Chemtech map orb stuff. I think Batman was kind of thrown off, but good on him on getting this Ixie, because without Ixie, really, they're losing a lot and missing a lot of damage.
Yeah, they really don't function as a team comp without Ixie. You can see Blah Blah Fish getting engaged upon Symptomatic Link, doing a lot of damage, getting a really nice knock-up. And mark what I said, Cherry's actually doing so much damage. Symptomatic Link as well with that Malignance, and Asian Jason goes in. Nice 3-man curse to Seb Mummy, but it might have been a little bit too little. Aiko and Seiko, though, throughout the entire thing, have just been pushing in that mid lane, being able to get that inhibitor. Have to be careful now, though, because Icy Rain can always go in. Cherry potentially on the flank. A TP now for Symptomatic Link. A nice stun there from Icy Rain, pushing Heiko back into Ixie, who's just going to be able to pump out the damage. Finally, Seeker getting caught as well. With a nice stun from Icy Rain and Cherry picking up the kill. 11, 5, and 10 on this Kog'Maw. 6, 3, 14 on the Ahri. The damage dealers still do just a buttload of damage for the Typhoons. They're able to land these fights. They just need the opportunities to present themselves. They need to keep capitalizing when they do, and I think they've been doing a really good job at that. However, they do have to be careful and really respect this Olaf. I say that as the screen freezes a bit, looking not great for Ixie.
Yeah, Braum is kind of there on the top side, could bail him out. Olaf does have Ragnarok on. I was gonna say, even though the Gamblers lost that fight there, both objectives will be ready for them. They'll still be up. Seems like we are having some issues here. Okay. In that case, we'll take a short break, try to figure out what's going on, the connection issues here, but don't go anywhere. When we figure it out, we'll come back here right away. Hello, welcome back. Thank you so much for waiting. Some sort of spectator issue caused us not being able to watch the rest of the game, unfortunately, but the game did end.
Yeah, unfortunately, we lost footage for the rest of the game. Sometimes Spectator does that. It'll freeze. The rest of the game will be unreadable from the Spectator client, which does mean, unfortunately, we won't be able to play the end of the game, which is very unfortunate. It was building towards an excited climax, and the Gamblers did end up winning, going up 2-0 in the series. CB Batman and Blah Blah Fish looking like they picked up the majority of the kills in those last fights based on the scores that I'm seeing. So once again, you know, the solo laners for the Gamblers doing an absolutely amazing job in this game. Obviously, CB Batman with an amazing flank on that early play, but Blah Blah Fish was doing so well in those team fights. Heiko as well, you know, the score might not show it, but playing amazingly throughout that entire game. Obviously, a lot of great bandage tosses from Asian Jason as well. So I think the Typhoons, especially, it's still the same problem they had last game, right? That mid-game transition, they just haven't quite been able to pull it off despite their good early games.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think if there's like a different kind of comp or different champions that could kind of help them ease into the transition to mid game, because it was like a duplicate of game one, right? Both times Typhoons were up early, capitalized on early kills, but unfortunately couldn't really translate. I mean, this game was closer, really though, behind the backs of Ixie and Kog'Maw. I think really dealt so much damage and had the potential to carry the game, but unfortunately just did not happen. I would assume what ended up happening the last 2 minutes is just focusing on objectives and splitting the map apart, because in order for the Typhoons to win those fights, a lot of it did end up being the Gamblers kind of consolidating, letting this Kog'Maw hit freely and not really playing that early game of, or mid game of, let's just pull them out in different directions and let them choose, and kind of stagger there.
Yeah, but for right now, I think we're going to cut it to a short break. When we come back, we will be in draft for Game 3. Don't go anywhere. Hello, everybody, and welcome back into draft for Game 3 of our series, The Gamblers versus Typhoons. Will the Gamblers be able to give us our first 3-0 of the Draft League stream, or will the Typhoons be able to bring it back and bring us to a reverse sweep? We'll have to see. But anything could happen, especially if they fix their mistakes that they've made in those previous games. However, the Gamblers keep playing like they've been playing. They definitely have an opportunity here to give us that clean 3-0 and prove why they were coming in as the #1 seed.
Yeah, it's just been tough for the Typhoons because every time they had a lead earlier on, just squandered it. Gamblers really capitalizing on those mistakes and turning the tides over. Even when the Typhoons won fights, they were still at a deficit gold-wise, still behind, and it was just tough. They did lose game 2 again, so they did have side selection, elected to go red side once more. I think we're still waiting a little bit for the draft. But you gotta wonder what kind of strategies that they're cooking. Backs on the wall, potentially the last game of the season of the year. I hope that they are planning something up.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they're cooking. I haven't quite started yet. I did say they were ready, so hopefully we'll be able to see that soon. I imagine we see some adaptations. We'll have to see. I don't know what I'm thinking, off the top. The Ashe was obviously a massive pick, and I think it was actually quite serviceable. I think the Ashe actually ended up doing a lot in that game because of all those ultimates that really helped Bubblefish get ahead, right? That was like a really big portion of that. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the Typhoons throw in an Ashe ban.
Yeah, and I wonder if the Gamblers also will switch their bands up. That Kog'Maw was a menace. Maybe they could explain that it's their poor planning that caused the Kog'Maw to kind of steamroll in some of those fights, but maybe they'll just stick with their bands to what they're comfortable with. Who knows, I think elimination games, at least on the side of Typhoon, to always make things interesting as different picks become available now.
Yeah, and we'll have to see what ends up happening. As I mean, they said they were ready, so we'll have to see. Oh, there we go. There we go. Seraphine Band coming in.
Yeah, so it looks like it's been so far a repeat of the previous game. Gwen banned, Seraphine banned. Last time it was Nocturne and Xin. Game 1, it was the Nocturne and Olaf. Maybe they'll ban Olaf this time around, considering how much damage it did or how much influence it had the previous game. Will we see Olaf back? And the answer is yes.
Yeah, I thought it was enough of a threat. I mean, I don't blame him, but I don't know if it has to be a round 1 ban, especially with all the adaptations. We'll have to see what they end up giving over for this blue 1 from the Gamblers. Would be pretty surprised if they left the Ashe open, but I think it'd be even more surprised if the Gamblers ended up not picking it if it was left open. So we'll have to see. I think still did really well in that early game. Still a lot of mechanics, even if the onus sort of fell onto the rest of the team. But yeah, that snap Ashe ban, gonna make sure to ban that away. And I assume Gamblers have an adaptation for that, knowing that that was coming.
Yeah. Now, because they're going with these picks, Nocturne is back up. And yep, we got B1 selected for this Nocturne that's been banned thus far.
Yeah, that's the Asian Jason special right there. So I'm not too surprised to see it because it was banned out so much. However, this is one of those picks that can kind of fall apart if the Typhoons know how to play around it. And we'll have to see if they end up drafting for that, right? Being able to stick together, being able to call out through the chaos. However, it does help, especially with all of these sort of flank picks. I was about to say the Jacks, however, the Typhoons picking that away early on. Now that can be a flex, definitely. Could definitely see Cherry on it in the jungle. However, it could definitely be an easy blind for Icy Rain as well. The Jack's a lot safer than he used to be. Not quite that counter pick split pushing menace that he used to be. He does a lot better in the 1v1s and the team fights than he used to because of a lot of these changes, especially the ultimate being a lot of damage and granting him all of those resistances.
Yeah, we'll see if Orianna gets picked. It's just a dynamic duo that really comes with Nocturne. I like this adaptation in the Jacks. Picking it early too. I don't know if it's going top jungle. I mean, it's flexible, I guess. But being able to pick another position this early is great, as we do see the Soraka being picked this time, a new pick here. And we'll see if the Orianna comes out. Maybe not. Kind of want to save that for later.
Soraka's interesting though.
Yeah.
Backing up the dive very good. And that's like just to me that, they realize that the Braum doesn't really have the strongest engage, and they can just play a hard enchanter here, which is exactly what they're going to do. Following it up with the Lissandra as well, very good when the lights are turned out, and being able to both follow up on the Nocturne, being able to peel as well, I think gives them a very good flexible sort of mid laner that can really do it all right now, and leaves themselves open. Oh boy. Are we gonna see the Ixie Draven special backs against the wall and they're locking it in?
Yeah, and this is what makes elimination games so fun. We get to see the Jax this time. We get to see Draven. Gamblers do have the counter here. Interesting to see what the Typhoons ban. It's just top and ADCs. I would assume they give the counter to the top lane. So I think you ban ADCs here. But no, they're gonna ban that Mundo that's been banned pretty much every game.
Yeah, and not shocked to see a lot of these tank bans. Typhoons realizing that, yeah, we do a lot of damage, but we kind of get hard stonewalled by tanks right now. So banning out those comfort tanks, I think, is really good. However, the comp that they've drafted so far has done quite well into the sort of comp that Gamblers have drafted into, and especially if they decide to lock in another Bruiser, right? Probably not the ideal play for them. So we'll have to see what they end up going for. I imagine we see the jungler locked in here for Cherry giving that mid lane counter pick. Although we could also see a safe mid lane counter pick like the Syndra or the Orianna that has been banned out previous games, and it looks like they're just hovering over that Orianna. And that's going to give them a lot of teamfight potential, right? With that shockwave, as well as just good laning. So actually saving the jungle counter pick, I think holding the Jax flex is the idea of what they want to do, waiting to see what the opponent's top laner is until they decide where that's going.
Makes sense considering Lissandra is already on the board. I think the Orianna is a good pick here. We'll see how the Gamblers respond. They go back to that Illaoi that was a menace in game 1. We'll see what ADC they will match against this Draven and Braum. What do you think? I think Sivir might be a good one here. Might lack a little bit in lane. If you're going for poke, maybe bring the Kog'Maw. I'm not sure. They can go through a different number of avenues.
Yeah.
Oh, but I did not think of that avenue.
The Ziggs bot lane with the Illaoi split push is definitely crazy. Not the craziest team fight in the world, but God, is the side laning going to be extremely difficult to deal with. Now, I imagine that the Jax ends up going jungle because of the Illaoi pick doing so well into the Jax, or they might have been ready for it, right? The Illaoi obviously good into the Jax, but still has to be careful. No, it will be the Jax jungle, and it looks like the Ryze top lane. Man, the Typhoons and Gamblers really putting on a draft show for us here in Game 3.
Yeah, Ryze topside really gonna go for lane dominance here, as they should. But okay, I say as it should, but what they really need to focus on is that transition, right? Because both games earlier on, Typhoons did set the pace, but it's just that transition into the mid game that they need to work on.
Yeah, we'll see if they're able to do it when we come back. We're gonna cut it to a short break for right now, but when we will be able to see all these crazy drafts in action. Don't go anywhere.
Did you ever try to further improve how fast you punch people through the roof? Oh, was there ever any certain time when you thought brute force and style combined? Well, I guess now it's time to shine, 'cause finally she's here. Here comes
Welcome back to the Blue Otter League. We are in Game 3 of the series between the Gamblers and Typhoons. I will see if the Gamblers can close this out, give us a 3-0 sweep, or if the Typhoons can begin their hopes of a reverse sweep, as we do see Cherry and Link kind of going towards a little bit more aggressively this time to get vision.
Yeah, and making sure that they get that vision down, I think, is important for them. Making sure, especially, that they can sort of find where that Nocturne is starting, because of how big the junglers are going to have an impact on this game, I think, is really the biggest thing that they're thinking about. Now, interesting thing to note, you got Chief and Icy Rain up here. Or sorry, Chief and Ixie. No, they're going for a lane swap.
Oh, interesting. Huh.
That's why they're getting that division down. They want to go for an early dive there. And that's why they picked the Rise. It's all making sense now.
Wow. We'll see if it turns out well, or if Batman can sniff something funky here. This is exciting. I like this. We'll see if they pull it off. Because I don't think we've seen a lane swap yet. on stream.
don't
Oh,
think
the
we
ignite
have-
happened.
Oh, and CB Batman just falling for it. Ixie, one more auto would have done it. Not quite able to land it though. But that's gonna force CB Batman to back, burn the TP early, and given the way the lane swaps work, that could be an early die from Cherry if they're not careful. In addition,
Wow.
Icy Rain's doing a very good job just farming up here in this bot side. Not a huge risk actually, and they're actually sending Seeker back to go back up CB Batman.
Huh. So I guess they do want to match the lane swap here. Makes sense. Ziggs is pretty much a safe pick here. It's just like a mid lane matchup, really. And having this Alawi fall behind when it's a really strong early game champ must feel bad. And so I think time to kind of alleviate that pressure. So I like that.
Yeah, and CB Batman without any flash is definitely dangerous. And you can see Cherry coming up here for a potential dive, but they are going to spot out Seeker now, which means that there's probably just going to be a vertical jungle coming in without a dive.
Yeah, we do see Asian Jason already there on the top bot side of the jungle for red side here. So it is going to be vertical. A ward there on the tri-bush too will help spot out Cherry if she does elect to go gank here. But a little bit difficult, especially when Seeker gets level 2.
Oh, getting stunned though, and so much extra damage. You can see another one auto away for Ixie would have been able to take that out. Cherry absolutely wants to go for the dive now,
Yeah.
realizing just how low Seeker is, just how much damage they're going to be able to get.
Level up.
We're waiting for the minions to crash. Level up is there. Nice exhaust comes out, but Cherry's able to flash it out, not quite taking the kill. Chief as well flashing out. Means they won't return anything. CB Batman is safe, but first blood goes to the Typhoons.
I thought maybe I'm mistaken here. I don't know if Seeker leveled up the heal or the silence, because I think the silence would have been much more beneficial there in that dive.
Oh, absolutely.
But that's the case. Typhoons again up early in the early parts of the game.
Yeah. Once
Yeah.
again, ahead in the early game, but once again, that's not where they falter, right? We know that they know how to play the early game. We've seen how well they can do. It's all about, can they keep that ball rolling? And right now, Symptomatic Link, at risk of getting collapsed upon, an engage from Blob Blob Fish. Nice slow there from Seeker, and Asian Jason's here as well, just to shore up any escape that Symptomatic Link might have had, and picking up the first kill for the Gamblers.
Yeah, I think good on Symptomatic there for not burning the flash. I think either way was gonna die. Heiko maybe in a bit of trouble here.
I'll have to see. Strain does do good damage, but
No
Heiko was not a victim of the lane swap, right? He was able to take the full kill, and in a flash forward with the Q cancel, it's gonna get a kill, a solo kill onto Icy Rain there.
That's very surprising because there was no mana for Heiko, but I think Icy Rain
For
wasn't
one
juggling.
Q is all he needed.
Yeah, wasn't juggling the this minion damage there because there was a big wave and it looks like it's crashing now. But Batman is there. Looks like they've swapped Batman down, bringing Ziggs up, maybe for early prio for these void grubs.
Yeah. Now, the biggest play here is not only getting these void grubs, but punishing Heiko and trying to get the kill off of him for that punish. Looks like that's exactly what they're going to be able to do. Ixie keeps chasing forward, going to be able to find Heiko because he burned that flash. And being able to collapse on these flashless players is a massive advantage of Draven, right? Being able to just run them down because of how much damage you have is the massive upside. Now, 2-0 on that Draven is the comfort spot. That's exactly where you want to be at this stage in the game. Everything's going well. Just got to keep that ball rolling.
Yeah, and I think if you're Asian Jason here at this point, try to go for that level 6, right? Because if they can get it early, I say this, Blob Blob Fish going on to this Orianna Symptomatic had to flash, but Blob Blob Fish was able to use that E and get that solo bolo in the mid lane.
Yeah. And putting Symptomatic Link even further behind is rough because your Orianna is definitely your sort of big team fight tool, your big AoE tool in team fights, whereas Ixie is a lot more focused on that solo kill, that solo damage pressure. It's actually going to be Gamblers that end up picking up that first round of Void Grubs because of that solo kill in the mid lane.
Yeah. It's a good way to stop the bleeding here. Typhoons, though, only up 200. As the Gamblers are now ahead in kills. We'll see what they strategize here in this lane swap meta they've made themselves. Heiko, maybe in a bit of trouble. Nope.
Good. No risk just yet. However, as I say that, Asian Jason coming back around, but Chief just taking the jump out to safety. Not worried at all. Asian Jason still, without an ultimate, means that he's not going to be able to land that dash in. Names. Has to be careful of that Ghost dealing a lot of damage, but TV Batman also has to be careful of the range from the Rise.
Yeah. Jason, though, kind of sticking around here without being level 6 does give Cherry the freedom to focus on farming. Still behind by 12 CS, but now is going bot side, stealing that red away from Asian Jason. And all this red vision down here, too, means that they do have the ability to go for this dragon. But it seems like there's no pressure right now to do it. They ping the Lissandra. They know Lissandra's there. But Nocturne now level 6. Gotta be careful here.
Yeah, has to be careful, but Chief ending up getting the kill on Heiko. It was actually the mid lane where he decided to use that kill. However, Ixie going to be able to pick up another one onto Seeker. Really just punishing, going in for that. Now Cherry trying to find the flank there, looking for the damage. He's still land a little bit more into Asian Jason, but Asian Jason flashing out, going to be able to survive there. Cherry has to be careful. Blah Fish does do a lot of damage, but safe under the tower, doesn't need to worry. CB Batman forced to burn the TP to save more of these top lane plates. Now Asian Jason jumping forward, sorry, Cherry I mean. Blah Fish is able to land that kill, but Icy Rain might be able to pick up the kill. No! They weren't able to finish it off on some amazing side steps there from Blah Fish. The spacing nice as well means that he's going to make it out alive.
I gotta say, for game 3, you know, I thought there would be some nerves, so a little bit less kills, at least on the Typhoon side, but we've been having a pretty busy early game. I think the busiest of the series thus far. 9 kills at 9 minutes. And we'll see if they're going to go for this dragon here. Maybe just establish some vision. Nocturne is on it. And I'm not sure if the Typhoons know, but they might just give it away.
Yeah. And I'm kind of wondering, you know, the Typhoons, once again, good early game. But with how much has been going over to Blah Fish, with how well the rest of the map has been doing, I wonder what the Typhoons' game plan is for really transitioning this Draven lead into the mid game, right? Because Draven is one of those champions of very feast or famine. If at any point you start starving him out, he stops getting all these kills, he stops eating as well as he has been, the train grinds to a screeching halt, and it is very easy to take over from there.
Yeah, exactly. And so they still have to be cognizant. We do see Heiko here grabbing some plates. Blah Fish putting down some harass here. Needs to be careful. I do think this lane swap so far has been very beneficial. Xe 3 kills up, already has that bloodthirst there. It's just the next 3 to 5 minutes are going to be crucial if the Typhoons can get over that hump that they've been facing the past 2 games.
Yeah, definitely. Now, with the second round of Void Grub spawning, this is absolutely massive, right? Teams are rotating around. Icy Rain has the TP. You can see Heiko already starting to rotate up. Asian Jason up there. CB Batman up there. All of these teams rotating around. Asian Jason maybe looking for that scuttle, but realize the rest of the team is here. Now the knockup comes through. Asian Jason turns off the lights. Sees if he can find anything. Trying to find through. He's going to fly onto Ixie, but he might have gone a bit too far forward. Now Blah Fish, the nice root onto Chief. The ultimate used as well. A lot of ultimates, but no one going down just yet. Symptomatic Link forced to walk out. Takes a lot of that damage, and it ends up being Gamblers with full priority onto the Grubs. As Icy Rain did not join up with this team, did not use that TP. Was going to give up the 6 Grubs over to the Gamblers.
Yeah, Cherry needs to be a little careful here. Oh, Chief, are you in trouble? Nope. Not yet that late game Ziggs that we all know and love. But that is 6 Void Grubs on the side of Gamblers.
Yeah, And a lot of these objectives already going the way of the Gamblers means that's just going to be even harder for the Typhoons to, work their way into this mid game, especially if they can't win fights like this with how far ahead that the Draven has been. Not being able to land really any damage on that fight, they just got zoned out so hard.
Yeah, Blobberfish has to be careful here. Cherry is walking down. Icy Rain does have the CC. Oh no, Fish does spot Cherry.
Yep, might be able to. They might be able to pick up the kill here. Cherry going in, landing the stun. Icy Rain keeps going forward. And a big shutdown now for Icy Rain. Gonna be able to pick up that kill on a Blob Fish. That's definitely a way that you can transition, making sure that your side laners, the people who haven't been doing as well, start accumulating some gold, start getting some shutdowns onto them. Meanwhile, Ixie has just been shoving in this top side, trying to keep getting these plates.
Yeah, production has worn off at this point, so it should be easier for Ixie. I mean, 98 CS, 250 gold bounty. I was gonna say props to Icy Rain there. Really timed the W well. Waited for Lissandra to use the was it E? Locked in place. Was able to secure that shutdown. Next objective isn't up for another 2 minutes, so might see a little bit of stalling here. Batman does need to be careful. Nope, never mind. Seeker's here to help. Wow, damage coming off from this Draven.
Yeah. Oh, but it will be first tower going down to Heiko because once again, that Ziggs tower potential, super strong. And interesting to note, because they've been so split, DB Batman is actually doing pretty well at keeping up in XP. Heiko's actually ahead in XP. The person who got punished for this XP is Seeker, right? Who died twice and wasn't quite able to get all that XP, so doesn't even have his ultimate yet.
Oh, and I mean, that's the bread and butter. And as we say this,
Finally has it, yeah. Finally taking down on it, being able to get that. Still, though, Chief, a lot of XP up, but, I don't think your support being low level is as big of a deal as your carry or your top laner being under level.
oh, for sure. And we'll see what they prioritize here, as it is 56 seconds until the Inferno Dragon. No vision really on the bot side. Batman, though, using those two Void Mites to his advantage. Really almost already equalizing the tower difference initially. Which is very surprising. Wow.
Yeah, nice play there from Asian Jason. And this is the strength that you have with the mix of the Lissandra and the Ziggs, right? You can just engage from so far away with this Nocturne and still manage to find the kills. Now Icy Rain does have to be a bit careful, get knocked away. Careful is what he was. Not too risky right now. Ixie and Chief just keep pushing in that top side, getting some damage onto CB Batman, getting some damage onto that tower, keep putting the pressure on.
Yeah, we do see a ping onto this dragon. We'll see if they're going to start it up right away. Jax is on the Herald, if I'm not mistaken, and they really have complete ownership of the top side.
Yeah,
So it
and
might be just a trade.
Yeah, and there's not a whole lot the Gamblers can do. However, they're absolutely loving the fact they are being able to go up 2 drags, have the 6 Void Grubs. All they need to lose is, a little bit of gold, maybe a Herald. They're totally fine with that. However, they have shown up, Ico and Seeker,
Wow.
just to try and buy some time.
Cherry?
And time is what they'll buy. Cherry popping very low, flashing forward, looking for the stun, but a nice satchel charge from Heiko keeps him alive. Now CB Batman on the rotate. Israel has to be careful, dodging out, going up, finding
Not
Chief,
too
and they're
fair.
not even able to get the Herald off of that. Now that Nocturne
Wow.
has showed up, they won't be able to finish off that objective.
Yeah, and I think a part of this is because Ixie just decided, hey, you know what? I'm just going to focus on the tower.
Yeah, and they're able to get that. The flash forward from CB Batman doing so much work with those tentacles. A double kill already, and keeps wanting to go forward. Seeker keeping him alive as well for so long. Amazing plays there from the Gamblers top laner. Now Asian Jason and Heiko have arrived. But they will be able to make it out thanks to the Realm Warp from Icy Rain. Beautiful plays there, and Heiko is going to use that satchel charge once again to take out that top lane tower. Beautiful plays there from the Gamblers.
Oh my goodness. Time and time again, Batman really stepping up. Last game was that Olaf flank that decimated the momentum that Typhoons have. And I say this, Heiko.
Oh, Heiko going in. Does go down to Chief. Asian Jason looking for some more, but not quite going to be able to find it. They are able to pick up the kill onto Heiko, and that is a nice return kill that they were able to grab. Heiko just not quite showing the respect that he needed to that Braum.
Yeah, and that's gonna be big because initially it had all this pressure up to grab Herald uncontested, but with Cherry and Ixie back on the map, I don't think they can safely do it anymore. Kind of have to show respect, kind of wait for Heiko to come back. But we do see Batman pushing 24/7 out bot lane, not being pinged just yet. No one's really going there except for this Braum. Braum's not gonna do much. As we do see now, the Draven coming down bot side.
Yeah, CB Batman, you know, despite the rough early game, 2-0, up 2 levels on the enemy top laner, 3 levels on Ixie. This is what we were talking about all 3 of these games, right? This Gamblers team, it's not necessarily the way they play together. They play together quite well. You know, they need to answer that. So they're just going to take those 2 kills, try and start evening up that gold lead. Still down about 1,000 gold, but a lot more even than they were.
Yeah, as we do see Simto back mid. Oh, might get caught by Asian Jason. Will Jax be there in time? No, sorry. Another death for Link, the 5th of this game. Seems like a 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of situation here for the Typhoons. Getting these picks, but getting picked on right after.
Yeah, and it's just been pick after pick after pick. You know, people dying left and right in this game. Other games have been a bloodbath, but this is something special. This is teams, you know, playing methodically, playing really well, and then just deciding to go all in for the craziest of engages. And I'm here for it. It's been a joy to watch, but you think sometimes, you know, maybe back off a little bit, play a little bit more safely, because if Symptomatic Link keeps playing like this, it could cost his team the reverse sweep, right?
Yeah.
You need to be safer on this Orion. This pick scales very well. You farm very safely. You don't need to be this aggressive.
Yeah, you have to wait too for the Nocturne and Soraka ult, right? I think those 2 very pivotal ultimates for these big fights. I think you gotta just play a little safely there until the cooldowns are up. Batman doing Batman things, going top side, soloing against this Icy Rain's Rise. Oh no.
Yep, they may have been able to find the pick on a Seeker, and the first kill comes in. The TP now used, but has to be careful. It looks like Icy Rain was able to interrupt it with that root. Now the Herald being dropped in mid, pretty much a guarantee, but it's going to be Ixie and Chief alongside Cherry going to be able to pick up their first dragon of the game, hopefully, barring any crazy steal from Heiko. However, Heiko seems much more focused on pushing with Asian Jason in the mid lane and using this Herald to get damage onto these towers.
Yeah. So it is going to be a Mountain Soul here. Mountain Drake secured for the Typhoons. Jax backing here. Again, they did get the dragon, but pressure being given in the mid lane top side. We'll see if Blah Blah Fish gets caught here.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I imagine he doesn't. Blah Blah Fish has been playing well this entire series. Not too bad about getting caught. Really just dying in the team fights, right? Not really dying in the side lane that much. And dodging out, being able to use that E. Engaging the top side, Asian Jason potentially looking for something, going forward.
No way.
And chasing through the Realm Warp, which was just a little bit too late. However, Symptomatic Link was able to pick up the shutdown there onto Heiko. Now trying to melt CB Batman, however, was able to get the clone. Has a lot of healing down, and now has to be very careful. CB Batman flashing over the wall. A couple more autos will do it. Symptomatic Link doing a great job dodging out on those tentacles, but there's only so much you can do when inevitably you get run down by those Ws from the Alawi.
Yeah, we'll see if Seeker tries to stop the back once more. They need to put a ward here. Did catch Ixie. Will they stay? They are. Except Jax. Jax has left. Yeah, it's been non-stop action here. I think at minute 9, we were 9 kills in. Now we're at minute 21, 22, with 22 kills and more on the way.
Let's see. Rain looking for the kill. They're just going to give that one over to Ixie. Picking up his 5th kill of the game. Absolutely super strong. 2 items now finished on the Draven. Cherry, though, trying to defend mid against Heiko. Nation Jason might not have been the smartest idea. She gets punished and goes down for it. The burst there from Ixie and Icy Rain just does so much. CB Batman now getting run down. potentially under tower, but they don't want any more smoke. They know how easily CB Batman can turn a potential dive on this Alawi. Symptomatic Link doing a very good job of defending, though, as well. Asian Jason not quite able to get that Stridebreaker proc. Symptomatic Link with some amazing spacing there, able to get the shutdown onto Asian Jason.
Yeah, lots of fighting between top, mid, and bot here. Batman now trying to go for Rain. Misses the root there. I see Rain needs to dodge one more tentacle, I believe. But we see a teleport instead. And Rain is leaving scot-free.
There.
Oh, wait, where did Heiko come from?
Heiko running away. Rejoining with the rest of his team. If they were able to collapse, they might have been able to take him out, but now that Blob Fish is here, they do not have the opportunity to get anyone anymore. Chief's just gonna back off. Cherry gonna keep taking those camps. And, you know, the gold lead still hasn't really changed much. It's still been 1k in the favor of Gamblers despite all these kills. Because despite all the kills that Typhoons are getting, Gamblers are answering it back. If they're not answering back in kills, they're answering it back in towers and objectives.
Yeah, it's been a lot of back and forth here. No one really able to establish consecutive objectives or fights won. I will say, though, at least for the Gamblers, they do have the objectives on their side. 3 more turrets, 1 more dragon, all 6 void grubs too. We do see the next mountain dragon is spawning in less than 2 minutes. Across the board, for the most part, ultimates are available. Summoners, though, only Heiko has his flash. Oh, wow, yeah, Heiko only has his own flash. No flashes available, so we'll see if there's going to be any fights before this dragon spawn.
Yeah, and if the Gamblers were able to secure this, it would put them on Soul Point. A very important one, especially considering it's Mountain Dragon and how close this game is. However, if the Typhoons were able to take it, being able to start stacking those resistances is very, very strong, especially given the relatively low and magic-focused damage that the Gamblers have been going for.
Yeah, Heiko here has to be a little careful. Might be pincered. Oriana down here as well.
Yeah, looking for an engage here. Has to walk through the silence, but Heiko just satchel charged himself right into Ixie. And Asian Jason forced to turn off the lights, and Heiko forced to use the flash as well. Symptomatic Link now getting dove on, but it might be a little bit too late. Ixie does so much damage, and they're able to take out Asian Jason before the start of that fight. However, the TP now coming in, and CB Batman's going to be able to return that kill right back over. Ixie gets pulled in. Now CB Batman going forward, but it's going to be Cherry picking up the kill. Shut down in the process, but being able to take out CB Batman there is massive. Ixie's not watching the tentacles, and he goes down to CB Batman's dead body. Heiko being able to land a triple kill as well, thanks to all of those bombs that have been bouncing around the entire fight. And CB Batman from beyond the grave absolutely saving that fight. Those tentacles just do so much damage, and Icy Rain is not strong enough to finish off the rest of it. Now Heiko and Blob Fish going for that early inhibitor, and then probably turning their eyes right back towards that dragon.
Yeah, huge fight there. Was for a little bit of time there in the favor of Typhoons, but unfortunately couldn't execute properly. Was being overwhelmed by the tentacles from Batman, the damage coming off of Heiko, and the passive from Blob Fish. Ultimate's mostly down. Heiko does have the ultimate bomb. Oriana soon will have ultimate as well. There is a number advantage though for the Typhoons.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they're able to take this one out. The Gamblers not quite reset on the map in time, but now they're here. They're potentially looking for a fight. Heiko has a nice flank, and the lights are turned off. Can be able to land a lot of damage over there. Finally, the fight is starting up. Nice damage from that bomb from Heiko. See Batman going in, looking for it. And Asian Jason's going to be the one to secure the drag. Now, multiple kills coming down. CB Batman flashing forward, getting so much damage. And the thralls are raining down. Blob Fish in a hail of icy corpses, just absolutely demolishing everyone. And a clean ace there for the Gamblers means this game might just be over. The TP in the mid lane, and they're pushing it down. They want to end the game right here, right now. No more game 4. No more chance at redemption. The Gamblers want it. Ixie's lost the game. He knows that it is over, and there is nothing left to be done. Blob Fish, the substitute player for the Gamblers, playing a hell of a series, really holding them on in this game 3 for a long time. CB Batman as well, just playing an absolute crazy series. What a showing from the Gamblers.
Yeah, I mean, this game 3 was much closer than the previous 2 games, but time and time again, these early leads did not translate well. The lane swap, the Draven pick was such a smart and novel idea on the part of the Typhoons, and really gave that lead to Ixie. But unfortunately, couldn't really capitalize otherwise. I think time and time, there were many fights going back and forth, but no team really getting that lead. Again, until the mid to late game, where the Gamblers really performed well.
Yeah, and honestly, just props to the Gamblers. They played incredibly that series. The Typhoons, a lot of hype going into this. You know, sort of finally with all these trades getting the dream team, but they weren't able to really capitalize it. And the mid game was their downfall. That was really where they ended up in all 3 of those games. Was fumbling around the mid game. And that's what did them in the end. However, the Gamblers, you know, even still, you know, not terrible early game 3, but they weren't really the early game team, but their mid games were where they blew it open. They were playing it so well, and the transition from that the early game to the mid game, beautiful, and then the mid game to late game transition just to close it out each and every time with massive team fights. And really, I think this series was all about those Gamblers solo laners. Don't get me wrong, Heiko played an amazing series. But the sub coming in, I don't think anyone expected the sub to play this well, right? Obviously, Flash, a great player, great to live up to, you know, big expectations to live up to, but Blah Blah Fish just doing a great job of it.
Yeah, and I think overall in the series too, across the series, every game, I think the macro decisions and the macro play from the Gamblers was pristine, right? It was so good. Really pressured Typhoons into making these decisions, and these indecisions caused them to really bleed out. And I think that's what makes Gamblers such a potent team, especially the mid to late game. But of course, I think across the board too, just good individual play kind of supports that macro play. And yeah, 3-0 for the Gamblers. They're going to be waiting in the finals, waiting to see who wins on the other series. I don't really have an update there just yet, but you know, kudos to them and for the players on Typhoons. It was a good run. Hope to see you all next year.